Perfect. Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Howdy.
Hope everyone's having a good Monday in the midst of our cold weather we're all suffering through right now.
Everybody should be off work by now, so it should be a lot better now than it was a few minutes ago.
Oh, actually, the size was perfect. There we go. Wow, that's crazy. I actually already had one for 3 people. So with this worked out actually. Collin is currently lost in the dreaming tree, but we'll be back soon.
Yes. Yeah, I would assume by now you got overlays for
Yeah,
2,
I
3,
have
4
different.
people.
Yeah,
You can just
kind of.
toggle them
It's
around.
yep. So it all worked out. That's great.
Alex is learning the
Always
woes.
does.
So we're going to talk about a couple things today. So the first thing is that we are going to review the. We're going to go over the SCG 10K. We're not going to talk about this too long. However, our teammate Daniel Zidenberg made top 8 at the 10K. So congratulations to him. Woo-wee, Daniel. Well accomplished.
It was a pretty good event. Had a pretty nice bracket. Anton was also playing. He had the miserable bracket as per usual. I had pretty much all. I had the bracket that everybody, or that's like the best you could possibly ask for. Round 1, misfortune. It's just an Aurora mirror, and like better than him. There was like a little bit of interesting gameplay there, but for the most part, like there's not a lot of cards that matter in the Aurora mirrors. It's all about like who gets to resolve Aurora, who can prevent the opponent from resolving Aurora. Like possession's a big one, and I managed to play around that really well. Can't complain about that. And then the reason why you play Yi is because you run into Kai'Sa, and that was my next 3 rounds. 2 of the Kai'Sa players that I played against were running Aspirant's Climb, which was for Aurora, Battlefield Possible. So I got to play game 1 with Aspirant's Climb, and then game 2, I'm going second. I flip up Obelisk, and they flip up Aspirants, and I just go, oh, so now I get both Battlefields this game. This is awesome. Like, I really couldn't ask for a better situation for my rounds 2 and 3. Round
Were they
4 also
friends
kind
or
of,
something?
yeah,
That were
they
both
actually,
running the
it's
same list?
really funny. The second, I didn't realize they were friends, but when the Aspirant's Climb flipped up, I commented that this must be like new technology that I hadn't heard about because I played against the
well, it
back
wasn't.
to back, and he goes,
It wasn't
"Go
very
ahead."
good technology because neither of them
No, it's
neither of them made top
well,
cut. So
yeah, it was good technology if they hit Annie in theory, but it makes your bad matchup into Aurora like way worse. So those were both Swift 2-0s. Actually, no, that's not true. The second guy, I ended up going to game 3. I think I made a mistake. But it's kind of hard to like explain without seeing the board state. So I'll just say that those were games I was very happy with. Played into another Kai'Sa, won that one. Then back-to-back Annies. Used to think the matchup was bad. With the technology of the 2s in the sideboard, it got a lot better. So at that point, I was 6-0. Round 7, I got the pair down into an Ahri player who ended up making top cut. So that was interesting. I lost that match. Pretty horrendous draws. I think that matchup's really favored, but just wasn't in the cards. And then I drew the last round of Swiss in order to make it into a guaranteed top cut. And then in top 8, I played against an Annie player. I missed Aurora in game 1 and was just like a little bit off of being able to take that one. And then game 2, it was pretty horrendous. Like I could not, every single turn was nightmare. It was like, he had the gust when I pushed my first Poro in. He had the sneaky deckhand to take the early points. So it was just like, it was like nightmare. Really can't do much if your opponent just has it all. So that was unfortunately like a very sad end to what was almost an undefeated. Pretty happy with the event. I don't think I really made too many mistakes. I mean, making top cut can't complain about that one. But the winner of that event ended up being like a Yu-Gi-Oh pro who was playing Kai'Sa. So pretty interesting there. I'm not super familiar with the guy, but I talked to him a little bit. It seems like he played a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't know all of the.
Do you
Yu-Gi-Oh
remember his
cards.
name?
Yeah, it's right here. It's
last Bauer.
yeah, Matthew Bauer. I don't know.
Yeah,
him,
Matthew
but...
Bauer.
Okay.
He said something about topping a big Yu-Gi-Oh event like NA Nationals or something like that, and I was like, oh, I bet this guy knows Dom, our teammate.
He
Yeah.
Funny enough, he actually cited the Bernier Thunder song "Meta Too Soon." He's got Bernier Thunder song in the side of his Kaiser deck. Might have jumped the gun a little bit. He's got the spirit though.
I mean, maybe it's good in set one. I don't know what matchup are we playing it for?
That's a great question. I do not have the answer to. What up, Eli?
Maybe versus like Misfortune for all like when they're holding up Infinite. Doesn't seem great. Doesn't seem great into Yi. Doesn't seem great into Annie. Is it ever viable in the mirror? Doesn't seem right.
No, I think it's supposed to be for set, which I don't know why people are targeting me at an event that I'm not even at, but
yeah,
you know, more power to them.
Somebody at Portland was talking about like how they were worried about set, and I was just like, Collin's not here, bro. You got nothing to worry about.
yeah.
He's playing it, like, fine.
Yeah, Gavin, that's Daniel. He's calling in. He's calling into the radio show today he just got out of work. So he's
Yep, I'm on my way home as we speak. I am everybody else does this full time. I'm just a 9 to 5 wage slave, so
this is so we're not going to get too much into the SCG. I just wanted to give Daniel a chance to talk about the weekend because that's set 1, and as we know, we are leaving the fair and balanced set 1 to enter the League of Draven. Everybody's new
Alex,
favorite.
You can't talk about fair and balanced set 1 when I was playing Aurora. Like, come on, be reasonable.
Hey,
fair
at least that's not the only playable deck in set 1.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, as much as I'm going to hate set 2 being a one deck format, at least I don't have to play against Yi Aurora again.
Yeah, I think Yi Aurora has had its time in the light, and it will be promptly retired as soon as set.
Yeah,
that deck is so miserable.
We are taking calls from the hotline, Eli. So this was, like I said, first time caller, long time listener, Daniel Zidenberg. Thank you so much.
Team. I'm so big a fan. I got a shirt from you guys.
Yeah, you've won.
Yeah, it was hand signed by the Challenger TCG team.
You are
one of a kind.
You are caller number 25. You won yourself a pair of front row seats to see Matchbox 20. Wait, what year is it? Anyways, so set 2 decks. We're going to go over the Chengdu regional a little bit. And for those of you who were fortunate enough to get to watch us broadcast that live, or most of it live, you kind of saw again the same pattern we saw last week. Oh, look, it's Draven. He had a little bit more competition in top 4 this time around, but he once again prevailed pretty flawlessly in finals. We're gonna start off by kind of just getting into the list here.
What's up, Eden?
Good
to see you guys.
We're gonna go a little faster through the Draven list because I'm sure if you've watched the stream before, the Draven decks have been beaten to death, and they're not really doing anything. They've changed a little bit, and we'll talk about that, but most of them are not doing anything super unique. So just for a tally, I believe it was. There's one really unique Draven deck in top 64, and I will talk about that Draven deck when we get to it. I believe there is a total of 37 total Dravens. 10 of them, I think,
yes,
it was 9 or 10. I think 10 of them were Miracle. 26 of them were the standard list, and then this last list was just. We'll talk about it when we get to it, but it was crazy. The last list was like.
I did not hear.
Yeah, I'm not sure what this crazy list is.
Okay, I'll preface it like this. It played 12 units. None of them were Rasa or Battering Ram.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, 12 units.
I think it was 12. I think it was 12. We'll go down it, but it was not high enough on the spiciness meter for my liking personally. But we'll We'll get to it when we
Wait,
get
it's
to
on
it.
only 12 units, but it's
I think
not high on the spiciest meter? What is going on?
Yeah, so we'll
Pretty
talk about
strange.
that. We'll talk about that in a sec.
Eden
Thank
says
you,
do that
Eli.
list first. We gotta start with the heat.
No.
Yeah, the one thing while Alex pulls up whatever list he wants to go over first to note is that it puts Miracle Draven at about 25% play rate out of all the Dravens, which still makes it like the third most popular deck. So that is worth
Sounds right.
noting for people. It's definitely not as popular as traditional Draven, and I think traditional Draven's just a little bit more consistent, so it makes sense to me.
So, well, so this is the first place Draven list, and this is not Apatow this time. This is a lot of Chinese symbols that I can't read. So, this is pretty standard. So, the battlefields are now pretty standardized. It's Obelisk, it's Reaver's Row, it's Targon's Peak, yada yada. There's two kind of changes I want to point out to that we noticed with a lot of these Draven decks this week, and the first one was the inclusion of Mind Splitter. Almost all of them are including Mind Splitter now, or a good chunk. Sorry, not all, but a good chunk are including Mind Splitter now. And Ferris Forerunner has actually kind of taken a little bit of a backseat to the sideboard to Bernier Thundersong. A lot of these decks were doing like 2 Bernier's main, one Forerunner, and then siding the rest of the Forerunner, or siding another Forerunner in response to all the Aurelias and even the Dravens. Because as we know, Ferris Forerunner is like, it's an incredible card until it faces off against a Rebuke. Then it might as well just be the biggest vanilla unit you can play right now. So something to note. We've got Edge of Night, which we've seen in Draven before, but is not quite standard. And then the rest of this is pretty standard. We talked about how every Chinese player seems to like to play against the odds. Outside of this, though, this deck is fairly standard. This is the first place list outside of the changes. I mean, Collin, Daniel, any thoughts?
Colin, you can go first if you want. I've got a few things to say, but
Yeah, this list is like Giga standard. I quite like it, and there might be a couple things I'll edit my guide to match this list, because I do think this is the best Draven list that we have seen so far out of China. Notably, going through this, as I'm sure this makes Alex the happiest boy in all of Wonderland.
Oh, I was going to
but not a
say it.
single one of.
I was about to say it. I was going to let you finish, but no one outside of the chosen champion in the main board, actually everywhere, because these are just extras. There's not a single one of in this entire deck outside of the chosen champ. This is a fucking miracle. And what do you know? The guy won. Huh. It's almost like the one of police are doing their job. So congrats to this guy on a well-deserved win.
For sure.
Just to add my 2 cents, I think it's kind of a testament to the format when you've got something like Ferris Forerunner, card that I think accurately rated as like one of the best cards in red from this new set, and it's not good enough because of how poorly it interacts into the Draven. Like, if we think about like talking about like certain matchups like the Mono Spell Victor deck and how Ferris Forerunner is just like a free win every time you see it, and versus Draven, it's like, not good enough. We need something better.
Yeah.
So I think it's certainly a testament to what people are expecting to play against, and I think we will likely see these Draven decks get like more and more stock with less one-ofs as this format goes on, because you don't really need to do anything special. You don't really need to high roll like finding your one-ofs when they're perfectly good. You need to play Draven, eat all of your good cards because you have so many of them, see like a good configuration of them, and you'll end up beating every deck that isn't named Draven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think too, it's just like some of these cards are just so like, it's the spells really, like the spells that invalidate combat that are just like causing the most issues with decks like purple as a whole is just like, look at all these spells. Like these are some of the best spells in the game, hands down, and they all have one thing in common. And if anybody notices that, they all cost 2. Every spell in this deck besides stack deck, of course, costs 2, which is just like they just do so much. I think George G put it best. He said, "This is the lineup of, with the exception of Falling Star here, this is like the lineup of risk losing the game on combat every single turn. Like it just fundamentally changes the way that combat is done in the game because of how much of a blowout these cards can be." So,
yeah, I mean, the perfect combination of like Rebuke, Fight or Flight, and Axe makes it a nightmare. Like, you got to overcommit to beat an Axe. You got to not overcommit because then you're going to get rebuked. Like, pick anything and lose to the one that they happen to have, or they just have all of them and you're going to lose anyway.
Yep. So I think, well, unfortunate. That is an issue with purple. So I'm gonna just move on to the next list. I think we're gonna start kind of powering through these Dravens here. We will talk about the Renata Glass list, Eli. We're gonna try to cover every best of in the top. I'm gonna cover every best of in the top 64 at the very least, and then go a little further down if we have the time and talk about some of the other ones. Next, again, the People's Champion, Fiora, by hook or by crook. She pulled it off again. She made it all the way to the Super Bowl, only to lose to the New England Patriots, just like the Seahawks are going to next week. Sorry, Seahawks fans. But she did it again, but this time with a twist. We were not playing the value mid-range Fiora. We're playing the baited hook, Harness Dragon, just like high ceiling Fiora. And I love this deck personally. This is a deck we tried, and it felt a little too high rolly. Maybe we just didn't spend enough time on it, but it is something. The Harness Dragon hook was actually something that we had tried at one point, and just like was kind of like inconsistent. But I was glad to see this guy kind of made the dream run here and got all the way to finals. And I love this deck. I think I've talked about wanting to play Fiora. I just kind of gave up on her because I didn't feel she could beat Draven. But I'm glad there's someone out there living the dream. Well, what do you guys think? What's the thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, I like this list. Originally, when we tested this, we tested it out of set, and I think Fiora makes this work a lot better because you don't need to play the seals, because you can just kind of rely on Fiora to... Excuse me, still getting over a cold here. You can rely on Fiora kind of as your seals, right? So I think that portion helps. This is the best Fiora list that we've seen so far. If you're looking to play this hero, I would recommend this style. Unlike the previous Fiora list, that list is just kind of Draven but worse. You're playing like a bunch of mid-range stuff that doesn't draw a card every time it wins combat, right? So while they look like completely different decks, they're in completely different color pairs, they're fundamentally just two different flavors of a mid-range deck. So Fiora was just always worse than Draven, and that Fiora list, specifically in the previous one, as we mentioned before, did not play any Dravens in Top Cut, or at the very least not Top 16. So that's how that Fiora was able to make the finals, where it immediately got 2-0 smoked. This one, when it sees its hook combos and is popping off, you can actually do some interesting stuff. You know, the Harness Dragon can kill units outside of combat. The hook can sacrifice your unit that's on a battlefield so that Draven's not able to draw cards off of it. So, yeah, I think that's
one of the coolest lines.
Something unique.
Lunatics is asking, what are the lines in this deck? And there's so many of them. I'm not going to pretend to be a total expert in this deck, but one of the coolest lines I saw, and I think we saw it in top 4. Or no. Yeah, I think it was either top 4 or top 8. I think it was top 4. No, it was top 4. So, I believe the Fiora player's at 7 might and has Fiora, the chosen champ, the one that readies, and then Fiora Victorious on a battlefield. Goes attack with Fiora Victorious, capture the battlefield, equip the sack a guy with the hook, make the BF sword fall off the guy, equip the BF sword to the Fiora Victorious, ready it with the Fiora Chosen Champ, and then gank over to the other side for lethal. And I was like, okay, that was pretty cool, actually. It was a line, granted, I was half asleep, but it was a line I myself didn't even think about. So I think that was a really cool one. But that being said, there's a lot of lines with this deck. I couldn't list them all if I had 3 hours in this whole stream. But
yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
this deck's
I've
cool.
played a decent amount of this. Hook set was something I was trying a lot in set 1 before we like kind of established the meta, and I realized it wouldn't really work how I wanted it to. Although that list does perform particularly well into Aurora, it just kind of folded to Kaiser and Annie and such because it was too slow. So, but here, you know, Kaiser, Annie, these aggressive decks aren't really as much of a problem. Draven is a little bit aggressive, but it's much more on the slow side doing so. So, yeah, just being able to have your Spectral Matron get back like a first mate to ready something and send stuff back in. You can't do all the nonsense that you could with set, where you like send in your set brawler after making it huge, save it, play your Spectral Matron, first mate it, send it back in a second time. But as Alex said, especially with Death Grip, there's now a lot of interesting stuff where you can do. You can make a guy super big with your set brawler. You can Death Grip it onto another unit and then break the second battlefield. You can Death Grip a unit, send it into one battlefield, then like first mate it and send it over into the other. If you ever sack your unsung hero with a BF sword off your baited hook, not only are you potentially finding a harness dragon, but you're also drawing 2 cards. So the value that this deck can provide is quite immense. It is still a little bit on the slower side, though, so I could imagine it would struggle with aggressive decks. But, you know, having access to, like, riposte and such is quite nice, so... yeah, I like it.
Yep, repost is definitely one of the... It's just... It adds a dimension that no deck in... Nobody in the game, except against Fiora, has to play around a straight counterspell. Like, Windwall exists, but most decks don't play it, and if they do, it's, like, in the side. So it brings a dimension, it brings this, like, oh shit dimension where, it creates this, like, you get trapped. Like, you literally can't play around repost. It just, like, traps so many lines for opposing decks where they're just like, okay, I'm gonna use this spell, and, like, when we think of counters for spells against an orange-yellow deck, we think of, like, Call to Glory, Death Grip, punching you, buffing you out of range of their removal. Like, that's what I think of when I think of, like, counters, not, oh, my whole spell fizzled, plus they got a butt. Like, I Falling Starred, and just, like, now their guy, they stopped my Falling Star, made their guy bigger, and oh, they got a land for it because they didn't use Fiora yet. So, like, I think repost brings like that's one of the main things that drew me to Fiora in the first place, was just access to just a straight up counterspell for 2. So I think repost is one of the most important things in this deck. Someone asked, would challenge be good here as well? There are 2 challenge in the side. I can't speak to the reasoning as to why they weren't in the main. Probably just a space issue. But I do agree, yes, challenge is good.
I think one thing with the original baited hook set list, we were having issues finding room for interaction spells because you have to put so many cards in for the engine.
Yep, I agree with all that. So
challenge is also just such a scary card to play right now. Like, if you're challenging with a medium might unit and then they just like use a Draven's axe on it, you can just lose the game on the spot. So I don't think Draven or challenge is a bad card per se, but it is one that you have to be very cautious about moving forward, and it isn't quite as universal now that the best deck is playing a might buff.
So I guess moving on, let's scroll down the list, and we have Mr. C tier himself, Ezreal, the Prodigal Explorer. Still stand by that this is C tier, by the way.
That is one thing I wanted to cover, is originally we did put Fiora in metal tier. I do think the original Fiora list, even the one that made second place, is still considered metal tier. Is I think if you can't beat Draven, which that deck could not, then you're metal tier in our books. But this baited hook deck does have some draws into some Dravens that you can beat. So I'd probably put this Fiora list probably closer to B or C tier. Specifically the hook version one, which was not something that we tested when we made that tier list. Just didn't really consider it.
So let's see here. So the Ezreal deck. So we've got the Rat. The Rat is back, aka the Pit Crew.
The Rat.
Yep, and this is the Ezreal configuration that's kind of been making a splash, been all the rage over in China, is the rat. The rat Cole is the combo. For those of you who don't know how this deck functions, pretty much it aims to play the pit crew and then play a Cole. Cole just says...
Appreciate the donations, by the way, Eden. We got $5 from him across 2 donors. We'll make sure to get to that Draven list after this one, since you've asked so kindly.
So, the deck just looks to put the Cole on the pit crew. The pit crew says when you play a gear, ready me. The Cole says when you conquer, you make a gold gear token. So, kind of how this works is, if you play them both on the same turn, you play the pit crew, you play the Cole, the pit crew untaps, you strap the Cole on, you go in, you conquer the battlefield, you make the gold token, and then the pit crew untaps again because the gold is a gear, and then the pit crew retreats out. And if you have another gear to play, like a seal, you can actually play the seal and repeat the process. Untap, go to the other side, come back in, go back. It's kind of like a build your own Lucian. Like this is like kind of like Lucian at home, but in this deck, it's actually really incredible. Stacking the gold is very good, and this version of the deck almost wants me to say. Almost makes me believe that Ezreal is B tier. Almost. This is probably the realest version of Ezreal I have seen thus far, and I am actually a very big fan of the rat. Some interesting tech choices as well. I'll spare my blood pressure. I think you guys know how I feel about a 1 of Gust.
Wait. Hold on. Hear me out.
Nope.
We're in the draw your deck colors, so 1-ofs are strictly better than running 2-ofs.
Daniel, what turns do we want to see Gust on?
All of them. Gust is great on every single turn. I don't know what you're talking about.
So the one defense I'll give for this guy is that Gust actually targets his Ezreals and his pit crew if the pit crew is not equipped with anything, although it's mostly Ezreal. So when they do try to Falling Star your Ezreal here, you can actually... if it's on a battlefield, you can actually retreat it with the Gust. I still think that situation is too niche and far between to play 1 Gust. I think 1 Gust is like, this might be the worst 1-of in the game to play, because Gust demands for it to truly be effective that you find it in like the first 2 turns where there's actual units on your opponent's board that you can target with this. I've already complained about 1 of Gust before, so I won't go down that rabbit hole again. But yeah, I think this is just a nonsensical 1-of. I don't hate Hard Bargain as a 1-of because it does kind of serve a utility feature of like, this is a card in open deck list that's incredibly scary for your opponent. This is a card that like you are drawing through your whole deck kind of with this, or you're drawing a lot. So having just like 1 Hard Bargain kind of is just your 1-of counterspell is fine. Boots of Swiftness is like another...
Yeah, 1-ofs look a lot better in a deck that can basically tutor for them.
Especially when they when they unlock like a very specific feature of the deck, and that's how I feel about Boots of Swiftness. They are kind of just... They unlock ganking for your deck. You never need more than 1 of this. There's no reason to have more than 1 of this. And in a deck that draws infinite, that also makes sense to me. Unchecked powers, kind of just like a bomb, but for a spell. You never need to see more than 1 of this. Again, it's a deck that draws a lot, so... As much as I hate on 1-ofs, this guy kind of picked and chose his 1-ofs somewhat effectively, except the Gust. I will stand by. That card should never be a 1-of anywhere, and I will fight to the death about that. But I think the rest of these 1-ofs...
I can get behind the 1-of Gust, to be quite honest with you, specifically because this is a deck that you don't necessarily want to see it on turn
I'm not looking at the list right now. How many retreat was he running?
No retreats.
No retreats. There's not enough units, I think.
Okay. Then I revoke. I don't like 1-of Gust. If we were running like 1
of
retreat, 1 Gust, I would think like
I actually like 1.
Splitting the card up, I sort of get it.
I think it's supposed to be like your niche answer. Like if you see it early, great. It does that sort of thing. But late game, it's supposed to be your Ferris Forerunner answer, right? Because you can combine it with Watcher to answer a Forerunner, or you can combine it with your Touch Frigid Touch in order to do it that way, right?
I guess, but it's still like that still seems kind of so niche to me. I think on average I would rather just have a retreat. Yeah, that like very niche scenario is probably nice, but like I still think I'd rather have this be a retreat. You have a lot of really retreatable units in this deck. Thousand-Tailed Watcher, Mind Splitter. I get Arcane Shift serves like somewhat of a similar function, but I would even then rather had another Arcane Shift. he was doing work with Arcane Shift on stream. And
Yeah.
that's one of the one-ofs that I'm like, this one's a little questionable, but I think one of Unchecked Power. The Unchecked Power is crazy too, because like I said, you draw a bunch of cards in this deck. This is just going to blow someone out. You play against Miracles and they like shove everything on the battlefield, which granted they shouldn't do anyways because you play Watcher, but even if they like overstuff the battlefield just to try to play around Watcher, you just delete it all. I really like Unchecked Power. I've had a soft spot for that card since day one. I feel like I'm one of the few constantly fighting the. I think Unchecked Power should see more play battle, but I like Unchecked Power. So,
yeah, you will keep fighting that battle. To be honest with you, but
the crazy one in the side, like the side was pretty standard to me. There's a Time Warp that's kind of cool, but Ornn in the side was crazy. I'm kind of curious what that was for. I don't even know if it's bad. I'm just like curious why he had an Ornn in there. Maybe because he makes a ton of gold with the coal. He does have a lot of gear to play down. He does have Seal of Discord. He has coal. He has all the gold that coal makes. So I'm kind of curious what the matchup for that is. But
to me, it seems like the type of card you'd want versus Kaiser in this deck. Like, Kaiser really struggles with big deflectors. Like, in set 1, you see them struggling with, like, Dead Bloom. And this card could very easily just become a Dead Bloom by, you get all your gold from your rat combo. They Falling Star the rat eventually because they play, like, 12 different ways to kill your rat. And then you go, okay, here's my big ol' Ornn with a cull on him, a bunch of gold in play. And now I have a creature that you really can't kill.
Yeah.
Someone
says, so minus Gust plus Retreat. I don't know. This guy clearly did well. I would at least test it as is. I think the Unchecked Power is more of like a surprise factor thing. So I don't know if it's something I would personally recommend. But
I do think that Unchecked Power does certainly get worse if your opponent knows it's there.
Right.
That's
definitely agreed on that front.
Few questions here. Go to the phones. Are you guys going to be updating your tier list after the Chinese regionals are over? I think the only way we would do an update is if we were like massively off. Like if there was a lot of shifts, like we were like a lot of things shifted from our tier list and we were off on a lot of things. I think we could update the tier list, and we'll probably do a tier list going into Bologna video. Like we'll have like that'll sort of be an update. Like maybe like a tier list what to expect for Bologna video. But I don't think like we wouldn't do one like the Chinese regionals would end and we wouldn't put out like a tier list immediately unless I think something changed a lot. Like we were very far off or something, which so far, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Colin and Daniel, I think our tier list was pretty close, right? We did a pretty solid job.
Yeah, there's a couple things here or there. I think Kaiser, despite her poor performance in China, should probably be A tier.
Yep.
I don't think there's not a single deck I can think of that has moved more than one tier, I think.
Yep, I agree.
Maybe Victor should have been C tier, but I think that's the only one I can think.
Yeah,
I'd probably put her in C tier. She went from metal to like C tier. She's maybe B tier at best, in my opinion. But I'll be honest with you, this is like kind of the type of deck that even though it performs super well here, it's going to be very difficult to pilot. If you make a single mistake, it's going to cost you the entire game, and you're doing all this to like maybe have a 40% chance into Draven if you draw well, maybe 35%, somewhere in that range. Like this deck still does not beat Draven for what it's worth, as we saw in the finals. It just has some draws that can beat Draven, when you're getting your baited hook combo off and you just draw perfectly, you draw the nuts, and like, yeah, of course, that deck's going to beat anything. But as soon as you whiff on a baited hook, which, I think every time you activate your hook, you're not very likely to find something that hits. I think even with like 12 copies in your deck, you're like 80 or 90% to hit, and it doesn't have anywhere close to that. And while that number may seem high, that also means 1 in 5 times, 1 in 10 times that you activate your hook, you're just going to whiff and have to put like a 2-drop in, and they'll set you behind a turn or two. So.
Yep. And I think too. Thoughts on Jax. We'll get to Jax later when we get to the best. We'll probably cover a best of Jax list at some point. I don't want to go too into that just now, but we'll get to that eventually, I'm sure. I'm pretty sure Thermo hasn't been cast on camera a single time in all of Chengdu or the other one. Yeah, I mean, people are still playing Thermo. It's just kind of like a safety net, but I do agree that yeah, there's not a lot of decks where Thermo's like broken against. Just a lot of decks where you're like, yeah, I might need Thermo here. Like it's kind of just like you ever run into like an Azir, you ever run into like an Aurora, like you just want to have something for those decks, even if it's not necessarily like always going to be a silver bullet. So
yeah. I can answer the questions in chat if you want to find the Draven list, Alex. I don't know if you know which one it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna go find that.
As the Discord access subscription based, it is, but that's just to support us kind of living the dream and making out this info. But we give a lot out of it. We do weekly streams for everybody. We answer questions 100%. You can ping us anytime while in the Discord, and we'll answer any questions you have. So it ends up being about $10 a month. It also gives a 33% discount to the guide for our cheapest tier. So if you're going to buy a guide anyways, then you get a month free. Pretty much is how we ended up doing that. It just kind of became a thing where like, yeah, we want to be able to do this content thing full time for people and put out good, meaningful content. So it is something we're charging right now, but we think the product's worth it. So.
And I'll give you my part of the sales pitch real quick. It's when you get in there, $10 is entry to this massive Discord community. We have 250 people in there right now, constantly talking, chatting. You might say, Alex, well, the main Discord has 20,000 people. Why would I want to be in your 250 person Discord? And how much of the Discord do you post in there and you get your question answered accurately in a timely manner? People are chatting about the nonsense of the day, things that don't matter. The same question gets asked 100 times. And that's not to say that Discord is awful by any means, but our Discord kind of cuts through all the crap, if you will. Like, you're always getting an accurate answer. You're getting answers from us directly. You get to speak to any members of the team. You're able to kind of, when your question doesn't get lost in the aether of other nonsense going on. You're actively talking to other people who are really, really working with these decks, the team included. It's a great way to kind of speed run through a lot of the fluff and some of the junk posting and all the other things that you might see in a more populated Discord. So the second part is $20 to get all our deck lists. These are our deck lists. These are not, we don't keep secret tech. We give you 7 out of 8 sideboard cards. We give you the full thing. We're giving you our entire decks. Collin's set deck, that was in there before he played that event, before he won that 10K, card for card. Anton's Yelis, the one Daniel got second place with, card for card in our Discord. If we have a secret tech card, you have a secret tech card. If we break the format with a turn 3 OTK deck that has a 100% win rate into the field and no one else has that, well, not no one else has that, you have that now. That's how serious we are about it. We sell everything. Nothing's a secret to us. You get it all. Like, there's no... And every member of our team is like that. If we recruit someone new to the team, the first thing I say to them when they get on this team is, you better be prepared for us to share your deck list or you to share your deck list, because we don't keep secrets. We don't add anybody to this team who's going to keep their deck list a secret from our subs. That all goes to you. So you have our guarantee that you're getting everything from us. Everything we can put into it, you're getting for us. And as the Discord grows, so will the information, so will the liveliness, but you'll still get that full attentiveness. We're answering pretty much every question we can. We're in all the deck threads. We're doing absolutely everything we can to make this the best Riftbound Discord on the entire planet. So that's my sales pitch.
On my participation in the whole thing. Just today, off the top of my head, I helped someone with their MF list. I gave somebody like a budget way to play Yi that isn't going to completely fold instantly to Kai'Sa. I confirmed a few things on the Kai'Sa list that I think we're going to talk about later. And then I was also talking to somebody about testing beta hook Fiora, because that's something that we really got into. I think we tested it early and didn't like it, and then we need to retest it. And there was a decent conversation about Annie and like the struggles versus Draven. That's just what I can think of off the top of my head, and that's just me.
Yes,
we have a team.
Daniel
of
is
people
very.
So
we're all pretty active. You can tag any of us. Descent Saturn. So you'll never gatekeep decks with multiple tiers of access level like other Discords do. No, $20, you're in gold, you're getting everything. Not 7 out of 8 sideboard cards, 8 out of 8. Not 39 out of 40 main board cards, 40 out of 40. And you have our list. It's not like we are making lists and like my Rexai deck's a great example. It's not like I have a separate Rexai deck in the Piltover archive where I'm updating it, and then when I feel like making it public to you, I'll update the public version. No, that is my list. When you're going in there and seeing things, that is being live updated. You're getting my link. Like, I don't have another link. When I update the deck, that's going to be through my Piltover archive link. So I'm not like hiding anything till I think it's perfect. You get to see the updates day to day. So one day you might be like, what the hell is all this shit Alex put in his deck? Because that's being live updated. And then the next day you go in there and you're like, oh, Alex changed. Okay, he took all the shit out. He's clearly done. He doesn't like that anymore. So you get to see the process too. If you're keeping up on those decks, you get to see day by day, what did Alex change in his Rexai deck? What did Collin change in his set deck? What did Daniel change in his E deck? Like, what did Anton change in his MF deck? Like, that process is all live. Now, sometimes we might whip a deck together and we'll play 3 games with it. We'll instantly delete it because it's trash. We won't feed you every trash deck we try. Like, that's the nice thing too, is you get a filter too. It's not like when you walk into a regular Discord and you see all these decks and you're trying to figure out what's good, what's not. We're only going to feed you the stuff that we think is viable for that legend. So we might try deck 5 games, but if you don't see it in there, it's because we didn't like it and we didn't want to give it to you guys because we thought it sucked, or we didn't think it was fun, or we didn't think it was good enough to present to you.
Correct. The $10 is not all the deck lists, as someone said. Sorry, I got distracted reading that. But this is the $20 tier that we have.
Yes.
But that also gives you half off of all of our guides as well. So you get a little bit up there as well.
The lowest tier does not have deck list access. That being said, we do help you with your decks. You still get all the benefits of the Discord. You don't have access to our deck lists. You do, of course, have access to those deck lists once they are public. We're not going to hide our public deck list from you, of course. But yes, the $10 tier, you still get all our help. We'll guide you to the best of our abilities, helping you on decks and stuff. But the gold does give you access to our direct deck list, exactly what we are playing. Yes, and you do get access to our VODs too. If we play games, sometimes we'll record them, we'll throw them in the gold VODs. If we stream in the Discord, we'll throw that recording in the gold VOD, so you have access to all that as well. I mean, we are, believe me, trust me when I say we are trying our asses off to provide the most content possible, like streaming 3 to 4 times a week, in the Discord doing streams, engaging with people. Like, we are trying to make this the greatest Discord community in Riftbound on the planet. So that's my sales pitch.
Yes.
That's it.
You've heard enough. We'll leave it at that. It was kind of a long rant. Diamond does have access to everything. Yes. We also do once a week coaching for Diamond streams. Yeah, while Alex does that, I can take care of things. But Diamond also gets access to coaching VODs that we do, as well as you can submit your own VODs that we'll do coaching for. And you get all of our deck lists for completely free. So, or not all of our deck lists, all of our guides. So, if there are multiple guides that you want, then you can just get the Diamond and you get all of them at once.
Yep.
So, this is the spicy Draven list Alex said, and I can see why. I don't know how this deck ever won a game.
How did this deck score 8 points? This deck has 13 units in it. Literally 13 units in this.
I get like it's kind of gimmick here that we're going for. I think it's just trying to draw. Well, it's not even trying to draw its deck because we don't have Treasure Hunter plus Scrap Heap. Right?
Please explain to me what gimmick is it going for? Not scoring 8 points? I do not understand.
What place did this get?
This is in top 64. This lot was like 55th. Yeah, 54th place. This deck.
I see.
If your opponent, I just want to preface it to you like this. If your opponent casts Singularity twice, you are 25% of the units in your deck are gone. 2 Singularities, twice. That's all I had to do. I mean, granted, you have triple hard bargains. You have like some ways to like, again, 1 gust. Why? Like, I do not understand the obsession with this 1 gust. Like, again, I get you have to protect your units, but then just play more of it. Like, why is it one flash, one gust? Like, just play. One of them is clearly better.
This feels like an any deck almost, where our plan is to. I think maybe it's 1-1 just because you want the gust to be able to play a retreat on your Vi, and then flash also will sometimes be useful in the early game, I guess, to score points. And then we're just trying to like Vi the wins, go 6, go 8. You probably need flash sometimes when rebuke is a problem.
We're playing 2 stack deck?
I didn't see that. Okay. Well, that's how you know this list is not correct.
Okay,
I think the 3...
We want to draw our deck, but we don't want to like draw our deck. We just want to like kinda, just like dabble in drawing our deck. That is certainly something.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell is going on with this list. I think there might be some sauce here where like maybe you don't need all the Rosses and the Rams because it did feel really nice in that, and specifically the Storm variation or Miracles or whatever the hell you want to call it. And that once you like draw your entire deck and you have access to a Vi, then you can just Demonic Tutor every single turn, right? Because Violets, you recycle 1, and then it's like, oh, what do I need in this situation? I need a Rebuke. Okay, put that to the bottom. I immediately draw it. But I don't know if obviously we only have 2 stack deck. I guess if that is our plan, stack deck is only like 1 card towards getting to the deck out plan, but we don't have Treasure Hunter plus Scrap Heap, which is the main way that you got to the points where you'd almost deck out. So, yeah, the one-ofs in this deck are functional like 2 to 3 of. It's just because you're going to see your entire deck most games still, especially because of the Conservatory. But I think the 3 Vex is the part that's the most confusing to me.
So,
I don't know what that card's
supposed to be. I get that. No, the Vex, I agree with Daniel here. The Vex is the part that does make the most sense because look at how...
Yeah, the Vex just makes all of your cards cost, like...
Yes.
Angle Shot costs 1, Switcheroo costs 1 and 1 power, Ride the Wind costs 1 and no power, like Rebuke costs 1 and 1 power. The Vex part makes a lot of sense to me.
I'm not saying it's good, but it makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. Like
I see. So we're just all in on Vex.
I think so, yeah.
Yes, I think that's kind of what this deck was like looking for. I still do not understand how this deck, if this plays a Victor control deck, you might as well just save yourself I would say 60 minutes, but in China it's more like 90 minutes. You might as well save yourself the 90 minutes and just pick up your cards, because I do not know.
Wait, Alex, hear me out. Let me really deep fry this. Your Vi puts back your other Vi. You have infinite creatures. Maybe.
Yeah, you're not getting to deck out.
Why didn't I think of that? Genius, Daniel. You solved it.
Wait, the other thing, you have triple hard bargain.
Triple hard bargain is nice.
Yeah, triple hard bargain is the one part I do agree with, but like, I mean, you have to tap out to play creatures in the first couple turns. Like, I do not, like, you have to attack too. Like, you don't have that many ways to actually defend your units on defense. Like, yes, you got Fighter Flights and Rebukes, but every Draven deck has those. Are you really going to Fighter Flight when they come for your Treasure Hunter or your Vi? Like, it's like, so, I mean, you have to. You don't actually have a choice. You just have to do it. But it's like, I understand why Vex makes sense, because you do have to be able to play these spells cheaply. You need to be the most mana efficient possible. Like, you do need the like hard bargain to cost less. The flash, you need to just be able to cast as much as possible. But you also, like combat tricks, you need your opponent to not win fights. So you need them to not be able to play combat tricks. Like, I could get behind Vex if this didn't have to be in combat. And combat, for those of you who don't know, means it has to be fighting against something else. Not just moving into an empty battlefield, but literally fighting. Which is why this card is so much worse in my brain.
I mean, I know that I've played against this card at a mid-range Draven a ton. I don't know why people like this card. This card is literally a 5-mana, 5-might vanilla. And that is what this card reads at, and most of the times you're playing against a good opponent, like they just aren't. It's either going to be not relevant because they'll like fight it once, and then like that's the best case scenario is that gets pushed and it costs them extra energy and a power. But in other situations, like most of the time when this happened, I would just be killing it out of combat. I would Falling Star it. I would just run it over with like a spinning axe or something, because it doesn't increase the cost of spinning axe. It's only spells. So.
Or I mean, like you can just rebuke it. Like it's the same
Yeah,
thing as
rebuke it out of combat.
Yeah,
and then it's like too slow because it's just taking an entire turn off. Like,
this is the epitome to me of dies to Falling Star the deck. This is what I think of. If you play against a deck with 3 Falling Star,
this deck is so
if you play
vulnerable to Falling Star.
If you play against a Kaiser deck that's like 3 Falling Star, like 2 or 3 Piercing Light, 2 or 3 Singularity, just pick up. Like, what could you possibly even do to them? Like, the hard bargain won't even be enough.
The Spawn Camp Kaiser, you just need to be on your like
standard.
If they just run the 9 removal spells, you lose.
Yeah, God forbid. Yeah. I mean, like, I guess Hard Bargain does get better against a Cathian Rain. That is one thing I will say about this deck, is that with the Cathian Rain nerf, Hard Bargain does get a little bit better there and does give you a little bit more preventative measures. But, like, man, there is the one of Gus, man. It just breaks me.
Maybe some variation of this could make sense. I think Blood Rush is objectively kind of a poor card, but I guess all of our guys are so small that maybe it's necessary.
Vex attack? Does Vex make the repeat free? I forget how that works.
No.
I don't think so.
Okay.
It does not.
Okay, so, but even so, Blood Rush is just cleave on crack when you like Vex attacks and you're just like, here's super cleave. Like, I get that. But that's just what I've seen out of most Draven lists. I get that this one has so many weenies that you probably need it. I would probably, I don't know. Maybe there's something with this Vex combo deck, because you get to play triple Rebuke, triple Hard Bargain, triple Ride. Seems like those cards are very powerful. So if you can utilize all those cards to win a game, then like you probably win that game. But
so one thing I just noticed, I think if we're running this many one-ofs, maybe we should be on a Bushwhack. Maybe Ride the Wind does a better job than Bushwhack, but
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just you're supposed to just ride the whack.
Yeah, sure. We don't have any creatures to Bushwhack. You're right. Ride's probably better.
Yeah, you're just trying to vie the wind. I get like this is trying to run the vie the wind strat, but this strat does not work when every single deck is playing Rebuke. Every single deck is playing Fight or Flight, and even though you can attack an additional time because she does untap against Fight or Flight, you can't get both sides. Like just like. There's so many ways this just goes horribly wrong. Switcheroo, Rebuke, Fight or Flight. Like, if you're playing against like the Fiora decks, they have Hidden Blades. Like, just so many different things that can go wrong here, in my opinion. Even with triple Hard Bargain, I don't see it. I thought it was a very funny deck. This guy must be good at this game because I don't see the vision here. It's cool to see him make top cut with someone who's innovating, even if it is a Draven, but I do not get this deck. I truly do not understand it. Someone asked, how does this deck even get to 6 to threaten by the wind? Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, go ahead, Colin.
Good question.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's some spice here that I think is very cute. I don't think it's like great, but you know, if you're looking for, you really like this Vex card, I think this is the only variation where Vex actually sees some level of playability, even though it made top 64, so it can only be so bad, right?
Right, and I agree with that.
Fiora, but it's still a Draven list.
From last week made it to finals, right? So,
like, I think that deck was better than this.
In the mirror. I mean, you run into issues. In the mirror for sure. You only have 5 2s that you want to play on 2. 7 even in the best case scenario where you would beat. I mean, you can't ever play Vi on turn 1.
Yeah, it's like Vi on turn 1. It's like crazy. Even going second, almost all of your units cost power. So like you're just draining yourself. Like you're setting yourself so far back. Like even if you go second, half of the units that you can play cost you a power. So like. Yeah. The Raven Bloom Conservatory is actually probably the coolest thing about this deck because it does play so many. I think that was part of the objective here is that you draw a bunch with the Raven Bloom, which is cool and all, but I also think that's a double-edged sword.
Well, if you're looking to live the dream, right? You put your Vex on a observatory. They send a unit in. You flip a fighter flight off the top. You're like, oh, that's neat. So I draw my fighter flight for free. Push your guy. Draw a card because I won combat.
Collin, stop it! You're gonna make people want to play the deck.
Yeah,
that's the part that I saw that was like, okay, this right here, this is the cook.
This seems like the type of deck where I will play it into the mirror and it'll take the first few games and then my opponent will adjust and then it will no longer take any more.
Yeah, if your opponent knows what's going on, like I'm not losing to this nonsense.
So but that was the only other unique Draven. From here it's all standard and what do you call it? Miracle. So I'm gonna breeze through these Draven decks a little bit, real quick.
I don't think there's anything really worth covering. Yep. I mean, I saw the highest placed one was card for card using Deagle's list. So
okay.
Yep.
I was just gonna ask, are they more on Nocturne or no Nocturne for the Miracle?
This is pretty.
I didn't do an exact thing. I just remembered looking, and I was like, yeah, the highest placing one was card for card. Deagle's list is what I remember.
And you know what? That makes sense because I think Deagle really hit it out of the park. That list is beautiful.
Yeah. Which is also the list in our guide. So.
One question I did want to answer, someone asked, do you do builds, breakdowns, and coaching? I don't know if you answered that when I walked away, Collin, but I'll do whatever you want in coaching. We do everything. VOD reviews. We'll play games against you. We'll help you build your deck. One guy had me practice mulligans with him for 30 minutes. I'll do over the shoulder while you're playing TCG Arena. You can play me on TCG Arena. You can play me on webcam. I prefer not to do that, but hell, I'll do it. Like, you want me to make monkey noises and juggle bananas on a tricycle? I'll do that too. Or on a unicycle, I'll do it all. Whatever you want. I have things that I can suggest to you.
I have to buy Alex's coaching. I just want to see that.
I have things that I suggest to people, but it's really about what you think will help you the best. So anything you want, when you pay me, I'll do just about anything that you think will help improve your game plan. And again, if you don't have that, I have a structure set up too. I ask you what you're looking for, and then I kind of have a plan as to what I think will help you the best based on what you tell me your needs are. So I highly recommend the coaching. A lot of people have seen success after doing it. If you have any questions about it too, we have a free 15-minute consultation through our Metafy. You can check that out as well, and you can determine if that's for you. You can even message me, because I handle almost all the coaching. Send me a message, and I'll be able to answer any questions you might have about that. All right, that's my sales pitch for coaching. No more sales pitch. So we've got the top Aurelia. Again, opting to play the 2-drops. Yeah, this is, we saw this in, I think the last best performing Aurelia deck is opting to play the 2s. Collin, I'm sure you have some thoughts. You're writing our Aurelia guide. What do you think?
I mean, it's something I'm going to need to test a lot more, because I've realized that, like, the only way that you're beating Draven is if you are first to 6, because otherwise Bryn always cooks you. There's just nothing you can do. That card's a fisting, right? So I think, but if you're first to 6 and you have like a Guardian Angel on your Aurelia, then the Bryn doesn't matter. So I think the things that maximize your potential to do that are good, but at least in my mind, I'm like, when is this 2? I guess if I'm going first, I can go like 2 into Guardian Angel plus something else on 2, and then like, yes, I'm letting him run over me and draw a card if it's my Poro or whatever, but they have to spend a spell, which is going to keep them off their Draven and maybe slow them down a little bit. And then I get to immediately get my Aurelia out and start being a menace. So I do get that. The other option is to just play Mind Splitter, which is also, I don't know, a kind of a decent option in my mind. It gives you a big body. It makes your Guardian Angels and Zhonya's a little bit bigger or better. So I think it's one or the other. I am not really set. My mind tells me that Mind Splitter is just more consistent, because if that card rips their 1-up Bryn, then you're always good. You're always winning that game, right? You'll have the not so fast defies, whatever, for what you need. But if you have these 2s and you go second and your opponent is getting the 6 first, then like if you had Mind Splitters in your deck, then you'd be able to play a Mind Splitter on 3, take whatever you need, and then start playing the game from there. Whereas if you have these 2s and you're going second and they start scoring and they get to 6th first anyways, and these cards are literally blanks, these sneaky deckhands on the board as well, like literally blanks. Like these cards don't do anything. You can cheese a game with Aurelia, I think, into Draven in them going second game, because they're going to play their Obelisk and you'll play your Obelisk. This is one of the reasons I'm not like the biggest fan of Obelisk, because Aurelia is going to play Obelisk anyways and give you that Obelisk going second. So those games will be kind of tough. And so you kind of have to win game 1, which means that you need Bryn's main deck, and so on and so forth. I have won those double Obelisk games, but they are a lot harder, because Aurelia, once she gets her engine online with the boots, she's like double scoring each turn. So, will the Aurelia guide teach you how to Riz her? Sure. If it'll sell a guide, then I'll add a section about that just for you.
So I don't have much to add on this. It's an Aurelia deck. I'm not a big fan of the 2s. I think there's not much I can say that Collin didn't already say. Now I am actually crashing out. Why does everyone play 1 Gust? Where was the memo? Is there like, are the One of police forcing people to play One of Gust? Like, I am actually like starting to crash out.
Yeah, Gust is
this is crazy. Every deck we've looked at,
it's their first
so
limited
far,
card is Gust. They
like,
just decided to limit Gust.
Yeah, is this like a social experiment where they limit a random card just to see if that will make people play it, even if it doesn't make sense? Like, what the fuck is with One of Gust? Like, come on. Like,
I mean, 1 Gust, 1 Flash, 1 Rebuke seems kind of very odd to me.
Whatever. I'm not even. I'll spare myself again. Just like keep the blood pressure. Keep the blood pressure low. I'm not gonna think about it. And we're gonna move on to the next. It's a Draven deck. It's nothing special. Again, we see more Burniers than Ferrises, and the Ferrises in the board, which is great for you Rexai players out there, because Ferris Forerunner is the absolute worst card to play against for our deck. But I talk about that in my guide. Yep, and we've got a Miracles deck. This is the very standard Miracles list. I think this might be Deagle's list, almost card for card. The side's a bit different, but it's fairly close. I mean, it's a Miracles deck. There's not much else to discuss about this, I think, than what we've already talked about a couple times over. It's a good deck. It's a great alternative. I still think the original version is better, and I think that's the consensus we have on the team. I do think this has some slightly better matchups than the OG Draven. One to name is MF Aurora. This is much better into the Aurora decks than the standard Draven is. Even when the MF Aurora hits their like nuts, it's still pretty difficult. It's still pretty difficult for them to win against this. But I don't know if you have anything to add here, Collin or Daniel. I don't have much to say about Miracles. We've kind of
I will just say I think Miracles is a great deck. If you feel like you can beat Draven, specifically the mid-range Draven list, more often than not, then you should probably be playing Miracles, because I think this deck has such an insane win rate into decks that lose to silver bullets. So like, if a deck can't beat a hasted Vi, then Miracle is going to have like 80% win rate into it. If a deck can't beat 2 Rebukes, you're always finding your 2 Rebukes, so you're beating them. If your deck can't beat a Thermo Beam, this deck always finds Thermo Beam. If your deck can't beat a Bryn here, this deck always finds Bryn here. You have so many different silver bullets that make matchups crazy skewed. You just have to figure out a way to make your mid-range matchup not as bad.
Yeah, I think that's mostly it. And the reason that I personally don't like this variation is that I think it's very slightly worse. It's slightly worse into the mirror match, and it just makes your already good matchups better, in my mind. So if you want to turn your 60 and 70% into like, 70 and 80% for you to win, then this deck will do that. But at the cost of making the mirror match a little bit worse. And obviously, given Draven's prevalence, I think that's why we've seen the classic mid-range version rising to the top, just because it's built well enough in order to beat this specific list. I do have someone asking, are one-ofs that bad? Well, Alex pulls up the next deck list. One-ofs are something that you should always understand why they're in there. You know, a one-of Gust is one of those cards that are typically good early and bad late. Those are not really the cards that you want to see as one-ofs. One-ofs are supposed to be there as a card that you don't mind if you draw it at a random interval, and then it can sit around until you see the right opportunity for it. But Gust is rarely a card that will be that. So, do we have a reader right now? Alex having to read a card. That's crazy.
Yeah, Madden Marauder.
Oh, no.
When you play me, move a unit from the battlefield to base, so it can push one of their guys out, but it's understated. It does have tank. I mean,
a push on legs.
I don't
that
like
card's
this card.
bad.
Yeah.
If it was the opposite, it was a charm, then that card would be great, but it's not. So
sure.
Yeah, it'd be like
it's just
then. It'd be better Blitzcrank.
So, yeah, if it was Blitzcrank in purple, it sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, that would be great. So
like, I don't understand the one of Cleave. Like, I understand one of Cleave if you already have 3 Blood Rush in the deck because it's like a miser. Like we talked about, like cards that are an effective 4th copy of an already existing 3 of in your deck. Those make sense. This does not. So one of against the odds. China loves this card, and I think we'll see more of it in the U.S. Not even because I think it's great, but just because so many China decks have played this in Top Cut that I think it would be like insane for all of the US to just be like, this card is bad. I am not the biggest fan of this card, but I do understand like where its merits lie. It's not my cup of tea personally.
I mean, I think in China it makes quite a bit of sense, right? Because everybody's just randomly stacking battlefields for
they do stack.
You can just like eat 3 creatures for free.
They do be stacking. This sideboard is composed completely of one-ofs. Holy fuck my eyes! Like, it's like it's like a bunch of cards they already play, like Mind Splitter, Thunder Song, Ferris Forerunner, but like holy fucking shit, my eyes, Dunebreaker, like.
Oh my god! Yeah.
But.
Sorry, Dunebreaker? That's a new one.
Yeah.
How do you side out Draven Classic into Ezreal? That's one thing I'll try to update the guide here over the next day or two to have a few more options now that we've seen the metagame. I'm sure Ezreal is one that will be popular, so I'll make sure to add a section for that and cover it as well.
1 Cleave, same alignment, the Mind Splitters, less Forerunners, more Thunder Songs. I'll start skipping these.
There's nothing to see on these Draven lists. Like they're all pretty close to whatever the current list is. Like
we've got more 2s, but this time only the Lonely Poro. I mean, this is just like another kind of more of the same, similar side.
Yeah,
we got Fading Memories over the Sneaky D.
Is Fiora already in the guide? I think I put a sideboarding section for it, but I've not added her matchup to the guide yet. Especially now because, like I said, the classic. When I wrote the guide last week after I saw the Fiora that got to finals, I'm like, people are going to ask about this, but if you just play into that matchup, you'll be like, oh, there's nothing I can do to lose this matchup. My opponent's playing a bunch of units. They're going to make one guy that costs them 4 power and 9 energy to make, and then you're going to rebuke it, and then it's going to be like, oh, okay, well, that was cool. But the hook version I do think has some interesting play to it, so I try to not put the matchups that you don't really need to do anything different. There's like a basic deck guide as to what you should be doing into any matchup, and that's supposed to be for like, if it's not explicitly covered, then just follow these steps and you'll be fine. And that works into Fiora. That works into like if you see a Jax, or works into all these random decks. So
I do like the strategy here. Now, China's meta is very much based on wasting time, and Murata in the waste time metagame is broken because your opponent does in fact usually have to pick it up and read it, burning even more time. So I think that's a really good meta call in China. Good, hats off to him. So next we've got the Best of Victor, and this is just, it's interesting because it's like it's like this is like a more traditional Victor now. Like they've switched back. They've just said, yeah, fuck it. We're not playing the Jace bullshit. We're not playing the hard control. We've just kind of gone full circle back to a pretty. It's like an amalgamation of the old standard Victor with new cards and the the hard control version. I have some thoughts, but Colin, I want to hear yours kind of here. What do we feel about this? I think we did see this on stream, if I recall. It played against the Ornn. I think this was the same one.
Yeah. Yeah, cooked the Ornn, and then, like, this is the type of deck that just can't ever beat Draven, and then a million years is my looking at it. I'm assuming you're relying on Imperial Decree plus Bellows Breath or Thousand Tail Watcher plus Bellows Breath in order to do that, which that part I like. So maybe you're just like kind of the control Victor shell, but you cut all the bad cards, but you don't get access to Ravenbloom Battlefield, whatever it's called, the observatory that will draw your entire deck. So unless you be a little bit more aggressive. But you do get to play Rockfall Path. So yes, I know that's Alex's favorite card.
That's the real big addition.
Like they've actually psyoped me. Like I'm starting to feel like the Manchurian Candidate, where they've activated me to now play Rockfall Path. Like I like feel like I'm being like psyoped here into playing Rockfall Path.
Yeah. So this list is just a little bit more aggressive. There's some cards I'm not a big fan of. I think this creature lineup of 2/2/2/1/1 is probably
the 2/2/2. We can't figure out which one we like most, so we're gonna run
there's
a bad amount of all of them.
When it comes to early creatures, there's always going to be one that you prefer to play on turn 1. And so that's the one that you should stick with. So this should be like a 3-1 split or something like that. I don't really know if Lecturing Yordle deserves the spot here, but yeah, I do think this is probably maybe better than the classic Victor control list. Oh, I don't like the seals. Those are probably bad.
I'm gonna go in the opposite route. I think this deck is probably just worse than the classic control list. He was trying a very similar list to. I don't know if it was exactly like these cards, but he added some creatures into the control Victor list to see if maybe he can make it like race Draven before Draven gets to take control of the game, and it did not go well. It was pretty consistently just dying to generic Draven things.
Why the fuck?
My only thought with it is that like this list can win more times after you do like a Decree plus Bellows Breath, where like out of the Draven side, it felt like it didn't matter too much when they would Decree plus Bellows Breath because I just had like a Falling Star or a Fizz from my Falling Star to wipe their backfield. Then they're going to have to take 2 turns to start applying pressure anyways. So that gives me the time to like sit around forever in order to do whatever I need to. But this deck can actually like apply some pressure while it's slamming those singularities, slamming the Imperial Decree Bellows Breath. So when it sees these combos into Draven, I think it's got some game. But outside of that, yeah, it's definitely a less consistent version than the 39 spell list. But I think objectively, like when you're playing a list like the 39 spell Victor, you're opening yourself up to either a bunch of 100-0 or 0-100 matchups where like it's either going to be like a Rexai deck that just swarms the board too quickly and refills its hand too quickly, so you have a no chance of winning while also having infinite removal, or it's going to be a 3 creature deck like that Ornn one that we saw, where it just can't ever beat the amount of Call the Weeks and Imperial Decrees and stuff that you have, so you're 100% to win it. So that deck is very skewed, whereas this list will make your matchup spread a lot more even, because you can always just like kill people quick enough with the units and stuff. So I would say they're both worth their merit. But yeah, just pick whichever one you like. I think I would steer more on this side, even though it's probably slightly worse into Draven, just because it can actually win some of the games against Draven, where you have the Singu, you have the Bellows Breath, Imperial Decree, you're applying pressure, you get to 6 first, and then you can like kill him with a Watcher or something with all these units around.
Yeah, I think I won't. I mean, they covered the deck pretty well. My thoughts are Lol Rockfall Path. I actually understand why this one of Plundering Poros here. They just wanted 4 2-drops. and this was just like it's the miser's
No, I
copy of
actually
the.
think so. Cody was talking to me about this when he was doing he was explaining to me the ratios for set one. I think it's unreasonable to have like exactly 4 2-drops. I can't remember exactly what his logic was, but like it made sense when he explained it to me.
I'm just telling you what
But
I think this guy was thinking. I'm not telling you it's good. I'm telling you this is why I think he was doing this. And at least the logic, like the logic of a one of aligns for me here. I'm not saying the logic as a whole aligns, but like reason to play a one of, this is fine. I think that
cool.
Yeah, I think the 2 seals is kind of a troll to me. I'm pretty sure. I feel now that seal is 3 or nothing. It's a card that you want to see absolutely as early as possible, so you need to maximize your chances of it. Yes, they're duds in the late game, but they're even more duds when you don't find any of them in the early game and then draw them in the late game. I do not know why this is 1/1/1. I'm not even going to speculate on that. I guess he just wanted to have one of each of these, so I won't speak on that. Side is like pretty reasonable actually. I don't know why there's 1 back-to-back in the main, but then 2 in the side. Salvage makes sense, Grand Strategy makes sense, Facebreakers, whatever, but that's fine. Again, the one is like very weird to me. Like the one of police, the one of police were clearly not doing their job today, especially not with the gusts.
One of Consult the Past has to be the weirdest of all of them.
Yeah, that's a draw card.
Yeah, like, do we want card or do we not want to see this card? Like,
yeah,
are we trying to draw every turn, or like are we just if we see it, it's cool, and if we don't, it's also cool.
This deck also doesn't really draw enough cards because it's not the Ravenbloom Conservatory version. So this deck doesn't really draw enough cards to like be trying to run like the one of scam like some of the Miracle or the draw your whole deck purple decks do, where they have a lot of utility cards in their deck. When they're going to draw through everything. So cards like in decks like this, one-ofs make even less sense. Yeah, I don't even know how this guy mulligans. That's a pretty good point, actually. Like, do you think he goes, I have Card Shop. He like goes second. He's like, He opens Card Sharp, Faithful Manufacturer, Lecturing Yordle. Is he just like, which one of these?
Yeah, which one are we keeping? Which one are we sending back?
Yeah, so I do think this like 2/2/2 amalgamation is like kind of weird too. I imagine that one of these is just better as a 3 of. Like, I think
it has to be.
I'm pretty sure.
Probably.
I'm pretty sure Manufacturer is the 3 of, is the guaranteed 3 of, because it's like
I agree.
It does something that the other 2 don't do. The other 2 create some sort of economy. One creates power economy. One creates card economy. I think you just decide which of those is more valuable to your deck, and you max 3 of them. And then you play 3 Manufacturer and just call it a day. But what do I know? I just work here.
Yeah.
I don't have much else to say about this deck. What you guys do? Anything?
No.
Yeah, I mean I don't like the creatures. I mean, I don't like the spells version at all. So this version is probably better. As much as I don't think it's going to beat Draven.
Yeah, it's still
this 3-drop lineup is a mistake.
Okay.
I'm gonna quick run.
Mistake.
I'm gonna quick run through these Aurelias because we've already seen it. Extra 2-drop. This one's got a Vex. This one's got the Dravens. The Sneaky D's and the Adaptatrons really taking off over there. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, this one's got Ezreal. I guess it's still got the 2s. They love these 2s, man. Vex and the Sneaky D and Vex is crazy. 30th, I think, is just more of the same. Oh, this one's got Overzealous. Whoa, this one's got... What the fuck? Holy shit. This one's got 7.
What place is this?
This is like top 30th, I think? 30th, okay. Yeah. This one's got... What in the actual fuck? This one is
spicy.
Just like...
Oh, that is a weird one.
Yeah. I don't like our top end here with everything's a 2 of. Literally everything's a 2 of. That's nice.
Oh my god, just all the 2s. Every single card. We don't know whether we want 3 of it or not.
Yeah.
You know. So let's move
As
on to
always.
something more interesting here. We've got another Victor. I want to talk about this Victor very shortly. There's one thing I want to note about this Victor. So it plays the Under Titan in the main, which is interesting because it's like kind of like a grand stratagem, except they can't even win wall it. So that's kind of cool. But this is closer to a standard Victor. It's like half standard Victor, half control Victor. This is the funny part. This Victor sided Jace. I've never seen this before. I don't think I've seen this. This Victor was not playing the Jace build. It was playing a very weird build. But it sided Jace. That's the one thing I wanted to call out about this version. So I thought that was interesting, given that they don't actually have that many, like, they don't even main the card sharp, so I assume that comes in when the Jace does, so they don't even have a guaranteed way, like, this has to conquer, this has to die, they have to find a Seal of Unity, like, I don't even know how they reliably pull this off. So they side in the Jaces, the Armories, and a card sharp, and probably another Wages, like, all 6 of these things probably coming together, which is, like, I do not know what that is for. This is just a very weird Victor deck.
Maybe they're trying to scam wins going second. Like they feel like this is their only way to win going second.
Maybe. Someone asked, does that Victor just blind second? I hope to God that's not what its plan is. That is an awful plan, especially given that your deck actually can. The Victor is like the worst deck to go second with because your deck can always make a guy turn 1. You can't miss.
Yeah.
So I would hope that is not the plan.
Second, I'm not sure there's a single deck. I continue to say there's not a single deck I want to go second with. So,
let's see. Do you think the percentage of MF Aurora will be high enough that it even matters? There are some people I know who are just YOLOing MF Aurora, but I think the percentage is pretty low, especially into a new format. I think that's the kind of deck that you probably play towards the end of the format, or if you are very dissatisfied with the top tier decks and you just want to say, I don't know, screw it, we'll try and high roll, then you go for that. But
gamble.
So
if you love the gamble.
Next we'll move on to Ornn. Again, this is very different than what our Ornn has been. We've had a lot more Protect the King style all-in Ornn. This plays a little bit more units, tries to abuse Sunna, which I kind of like in Tiana Crown Guard, and you're actually just playing a weapon deck that tries to fight the fairway. I'm not a big fan of the way this Ornn deck is played. I prefer the more all-in Protect the King style strategy, but now with everybody playing Burn Near Thundersong, maybe this is just a necessary adjustment. Maybe this just has to be done now.
Be real with you. Does this version of the deck even beat Burn Here Thundersong?
Yeah, I don't know, but it maybe does by just getting to 6 first.
It doesn't fold to it. It doesn't fold to it. I think that's the biggest thing. Is like the other all-in version, just like they go Burn Your Thundersong, they play Rebuke, they pay their 6 power or whatever it is, and just you lose. So I think at least this like has a lot more game into the Thundersong. That's what I imagine they're going for here. I don't really think this is great. This is like a very metal. This is like the epitome of metal card side quest to me. I mean, what do you guys think?
I don't know. I think there's some game to it. This guy did go undefeated and then ran into like the one unplayable matchup in the field, being the Victor deck that we saw on camera. So I think we didn't really get a chance to see what this guy was really cooking with. And you always have to take something unknown like this as a potential for it to be a little bit better, just because you're going into a field where nobody knows what you're going to be doing. You're going to get a lot of percentage points off of that. So I would say we haven't gotten a chance to test this deck yet, but I think it's a cool concept. I'm looking at a similar lists out of like Ari and stuff, just because it'd be nice to get that metal card. But yeah, I'd say don't completely. I would say just try it.
One of Defy's
just enough credit to play it for a handful of games, but if it doesn't impress me quickly, I'm going to be with my initial assessment of I don't think this is better than just going all in on Ornn.
Yeah, I mean, one of Defy, that should be straight to jail. Like,
it's just a different deck for sure.
You one of Defy's that is like a first degree felony in my eyes, but Matt,
I will
what do
say,
I
like,
know?
if we're a good Sona deck, why are we running 2? I think somebody in chat also said the similar thing.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah, I agree with that. This is
if we're
just like
trying to be a
another
Sona
case of
deck,
China two ofs. Someone asks, can you play recruit from Vanguard
I'll
Armory into a battlefield? Yes, you can occupy battlefield. Yes, that one doesn't say to base. I believe it is anywhere. Go ahead, Collin. Sorry.
I will. I've said this a lot of times, but something to always remind people is that China is very early into competitive card games. Their lists are going to look like dog shit, and they're going to be dog shit. But that's not to say that the concepts are bad. You have to take these lists and adapt them into an actual good version of whatever the list is. So, like, fix it up. If Sona is our deck, then yeah, obviously we play 3 Sona. This guy clearly in testing has played 20 games. He drew 2 Sonas once, and it was bad. So he was like, okay, I'm just going to cut a Sona so I never draw 2 again.
That
So,
sounds
like,
yeah.
whenever you see all these 2-ofs, that's the exact reason. In their mind, they're like, I don't ever want to see more than one of this card. So even if it's the most important card in my deck, I'm going to play 2 because that way I only see the one that I want to see. So, but obviously, us over here know we play 3 arena bar. We don't want to play 2 or 1, even though that card sucks to draw on multiples because it's the most important card of our deck. We're going to play the 3, and we're going to suck it up in the games that we draw multiples because that's less likely than the games where you have 2 of them and then you just never see them, or it's just less impactful than not seeing the card to begin with. So,
Someone asked,
take the idea, adapt it.
Someone asked, can we jump to the decks that are interesting? Where's the Rexai and Azir? All right. I was trying not to jump to the Rexai because that's like feels a little biased. I'll hop over this Kaiser real quick to go to the Rexai since you so nicely asked.
Yeah, I'm curious what the one of Kaisa was.
Yeah, I actually think the Kaisa was pretty interesting.
All right, fine.
Let's at least give it a little bit.
All right, we'll look at the Kaisa.
Oh, wait. Yeah, it is this one. Okay, yeah. It's this one. This is the one that I was actually very interested in.
Yeah, so it's pretty standard what we think Kaisa should look like set to, except 2 cards stick out to me. The first, obviously, being Get Excited. The second being Progress Day, which actually helps fuel the Get Excited. And then the third Time Warp, assumedly to also fuel the Get Excited. I'm surprised a deck with Get Excited does not play Premonition anywhere in the 48. That was like to just kind of keep gassing up. I thought that would have been kind of cute,
I think the Progress Day is actually where you want to be at as your draw spell. I don't think you can afford to send the power back.
Yeah, sorry, chat. I'm very sick. But I'm here for y'all.
Not. I feel like this is such a huge tempo loss in such a tempo demanding format, but like I can also see where against Draven.
So here's my logic, right? You're looking at all the creatures except for Watchers are cheap, right? So if you're on like an 8-mana turn, you're trying to run Progress Day and then run out like a cheap creature.
Sure.
So like I think that part makes sense. This actually looks. It's not exactly what I was looking for with my like all spell Kaisa, but I think it's actually probably better than what I was looking at. I guess since I'm the most excited about it, I'm just gonna like go on a tangent. But I think
I like this list too, but go for it.
Okay, sure. I think the really impressive thing, I was not thinking about Get Excited in my list at all, because I always felt like I was running out of cards. But the combination of the Get Excited, the Time Warp, and the Progress Day, like if we're looking for a way for Kaisa to beat Aurelia, Time Warp is one of the 2 ways realistically that you can do it, right? You're using Time Warp to like go to 7 and then Time Warp for game, or you're trying to use like double warp to go from 5 to 8 with Aurelia not being able to interact with you, right? Like let's say they tap. The problem that I was experiencing with the Control Kaisa deck is that I would not be able to end the game quickly enough against Draven, and they would just eventually be able to find like enough hasty guys to kill me. Or like versus it post board when they get to they get to cut all of their dead cards, then I'm eventually just going to run out of steam, whereas they keep drawing gas. Progress Day fixes the issue of running out of gas. This Get Excited card is like the perfect instant speed interaction for if you are in a matchup where Time Warp is too expensive, you just toss it into this Get Excited and kill any creature. Like nobody's sending something at you that's bigger than 10 power. It's just going to eat a creature for free.
Butthole Dragon with a shovel. There you go. Checkmate atheists.
Yeah, all right, man. Sure. Sure, you're not killing Butthole Dragon with a shovel. Every other creature that's going to be in the game, you're going to be killing with Get Excited. It only costs 2 mana. It's not even a power cost because you're Kaisa. I think this guy's really cooking, and this is one of the decks I'm the most excited to try after this event.
I thought it was interesting that he had the fortified position, but maybe it makes sense given how small all of his units are, and he probably is the blocker a lot.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool tech because he's never winning or he's never going into combat, right? So because he's killing it all the spells, so
right,
and then it just like protects your guy, so you can send it in on turn 1, and then your opponent can never run over you because you're fortified.
This is another deck that I actually think will struggle against decks like Rexai, against like Victor Control. Granted, he does recognize that because he's 3 Fair's Forerunner in the side, so he recognizes his deck's weakness to hard control decks because of his lack of actual real units. 2 of them do replace themselves, but your units can replace themselves as much as they want. If they all die, it won't actually matter, and this guy doesn't actually have a way to get more units. He can draw till he's blue in the face, and not a lot of accelerate either. He's only got the Watcher and the 1 Kaisa, so he is like... This deck is like one that must fear the shit out of Bellows Breath. Like, a fucking good Bellows Breath just must destroy you. Like, you don't even have to wait there. You don't even have to have a combo with it. You just Bellows Breath and delete their whole board, pretty much. So
this list definitely has some weaknesses. What place did it get, by the way, Alex?
This was 37th, so it won 1 round and then lost.
No, it means he was a top breaker, so he actually probably went undefeated in Swiss. And then lost in top 64. Immediately.
Won. Oh no, you're right. Yeah. Because 30. Yeah, I'm slow. 33.
Yeah, the way they do and in case people don't know, the way they do 33rd through 62nd is it's based on your seeding going into top cut. So if you were first and then you lost in top 64, then you would be 33rd. If you're second in that same instance, then you'd be 34th, so on and so forth. So this was actually one of the best Kaisas through Swiss. It went either 6-1 or 5-0-2 or 5-2-0, because I think all the 5-0s just double drew in because they were guaranteed that way. And it probably 2-0'd all of its opponents because it had insane breakers. So, yeah, don't sleep on this list. If you like Kaisa, look at something like this. That's Yale's.
I think this is the place to start with Kaisa.
For sure. At least give it a shot.
So finally, yes, I definitely have not been foaming at the mouth to talk about this. It's Rexai with another fucking Rockfall path! Why? Why is it here? I don't get it!
Join us, Alex. Join us on the path to Rockfall. Together we can fall the rocks together.
I need it. Oh, God. I need a drink.
We're going to both Vegas and Bologna.
Is that standard?
No,
oh my God. Why do we have Rockfall Path? I am definitely turning into like the Rockfall Path candidate. I am convinced this is a psyop. Someone in China has a spy in our chat and knows it's working. Like every single time they're sending their agents to move my furniture slightly in my house. They're altering my day-to-day routine slowly but surely. And most importantly, they're putting Rockfall Path in every fucking... There's a new deck that plays Rockfall Path every week. They slide it in there, 1 extra 1. I swear to you, by the end of all these regionals, every deck will play Rockfall Path. The Dravens will start playing Rockfall Path for no reason other than to drive me fucking insane. Rockfall Path. Why is it there? Outside of the Rockfall Path, though, there's some interesting choices in this deck. A lot I don't agree with. Again, this is like the one-of police should have thrown this guy directly to jail. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I won't count that one. 6. Oh, I guess that's a 2 of 6. 6 1 of 7. 7 1-ofs between main and side, which is not the most offensive one, but that is definitely... That's at least a week in the hole, from my perspective. some thoughts on this. So, he's playing the Under Titan version, which I think the Void Hatchling is good in. I do not play Void Hatchling currently. I'll give you a little preview. Under Titan just went back in my list as a one of. I only play one Under Titan, but I do not play the Void Hatchling. Honest Broker. I don't really love Vi in this deck. I don't think it's the worst thing. Like, the cycle back is almost never necessary. You do sometimes get through a lot of your deck, but not usually the whole deck unless you're really in a grind game, which the Phoenix kind of just does a better job of winning in. I don't have Darius's currently, but I think Darius in the Under Titan version makes sense to me. Some things I don't like about this list. Void Seeker. The one of Drag Under is kind of funny. Actually, Cody just added a one of Drag Under to his list the other day. It's like very lulzy. I'm not a fan of that, but Alex, what do you think of the Phoenix Seal removal package in Darius? I haven't played a lot of Darius. It's probably fine. It works here. I don't see a reason it wouldn't be applicable.
Wait, hold on. I've played a little bit of Darius, and I can comment on it.
Sure.
The Darius deck really isn't trying to play the removal plan. It's trying to slam 2, 4, 6, 8 as quickly as humanly possible. Like, your plan in most of your games, you're going to try and, like, if you go second game 1, you're going to try and drop double 2-drop. You're trying to take both points, take 2 more guys, take 2 more points, play 2 more guys, take 2 points. Then on the very last turn, you're going to run like Hidden Blade. You're not trying to play the removal game. You're just trying to, like, take. I think that because the hero powers are sort of opposites, Rexai deck is all about going +1 on cards. Like, you're trying to basically, like, every single card I see off top of my deck, I want it to cost 2 so I can play it easily. The Darius deck is trying to do the exact opposite, where, like, I just want to see creatures. I want to slam them every single turn. Like, if I see a baited hook, great, that's more creatures. Then I want to see, like, 1 removal to finish the game. So I think, because of the opposite hero powers, I think they're very different.
So I'll tell you what I don't like about the, like, truly don't like. Like, the Vi's, whatever. The Void Hatchling I don't like. Here's what I hate. 6 2-ofs is criminal. You want to go first. You do not want to miss a turn 1 play. Sundisk is not an acceptable turn 1 play. As I've discussed before, you're not trying to pay power on turns where you have even amounts of power because of the amount of even cost cards that your deck plays. So if you look at this deck doesn't play a whole lot of odd costing cards. It has like a few spells that are odd costing. But if you look at all the units, they mostly cost even, the Immortal Phoenix being the exception, but typically you loot that away, or like you try your best not to play it game 1. You have Darius. Mine has even less odds than this. But you're trying to pay power on your turns where you have odd runes, so that your turns line up so you can spend all your mana efficiently, because this deck does not have a lot of instant speed interaction, which leads me to point 2. Instant speeds are kind of just not great in Rexai. One of the best parts about Rexai right now is that it gets to completely ignore Burn Your Thundersong. It does not have to care. I think in my deck I have literally 1 action speed or reaction speed spell, and that is Hidden Blade. So it gets to just completely ignore Thundersong, which I think is one of the biggest upsides, especially in a world where the worst card for this deck is Ferris Forerunner, and a lot of people have opted to play Thundersong main over Forerunner. So now they've swapped in their best card for a dud, at least in game 1. I do not agree with the Hextech Ray. This deck is so power hungry. I do not think it is realistic a lot of the time to use Hextech Ray in this deck. Albeit, I do like 1-cost cards because on your odd turns, you often leave 1 energy up. So maybe there is something to consider there. I have not tried Hextech Ray, so I'm not going to go too hard on it, but I have not liked the idea of it at the very least. Triple Cull is fine. I've wanted to fit a Death Grip in this deck. I think Death Grip could be good. I just don't know how to fit it. But I would like to be able to fit one in mine. I can't. 3 Falling Star, 2 Hidden Blade. I think 1 Piercing Light is criminal. I think this is one of the best cards in Rexai right now. One of the best lines of play that you can make into a Draven is when they go first, they go turn 1 guy, turn 2 Draven, walk the guy in, and you go turn 2, kill both your guys. Or, well, turn 1, you can either go, if your guy is big enough, which it usually is because you made a Rexai turn 1, you go value trade. You can either go value trade over their guy, trigger your thing, look for whatever. If you find Falling Star or Cole, you just run one of those, kill their Draven in the back. Or the other line you can take is just go Piercing Light, delete both guys, and then capture with Rexai. I guess you capture first, trigger Rexai. If you find Piercing Light, great. If you don't, Piercing Light, even though it costs 2 power, the Draven decks don't actually have that many creatures, so their follow-up is often not great, because they're going to 6 if they went first, so the best follow-up they have against you is either Accelerate Kai'Sa, that is probably the single best follow-up, or it's Stack Deck Ready Darius. Like, those are the only 2 real follow-ups to that line of play. And if you have the Piercing Light, you actually don't need to run... You don't need to run your Rexai into the battlefield. You can actually camp him back because you deleted their whole board and kind of wait to build a little bit more of a board there. So I think I played 3 Piercing Light, no exceptions. I think that's like one of the best cards in this deck. 3 Sig Spell, 1 Drag Under. Like I said, this is kind of funny. I do want to finish the other deck list, so I'll save this tangent for another time, but I do not think Void Seeker is good in this deck. I did play with Void Seeker. I played with 2 Void Seeker. I played with 1 Void Seeker. I played with no Void Seeker. I do not like leaving 3 mana up in this deck. I do not think it's good. I don't believe in that. I think if you go and watch our live stream at the end of it, when I have George G on, he proposes a little thought experiment about Void Seeker that kind of talks about the current state of the game with power creep. And it's a discussion I'm not going to get into because it's more long-winded and we've only got a bit of time, so we need to see the rest of the decks. But if you should check that out. Thermo Beam is fine. I don't know why this isn't salvage. I think Thermo Beam is a little bit too expensive for my taste, but I'd rather have... I don't know why this deck doesn't have a minimum of 2 salvage in the side. Thunder Song is great. Another Drag Under is fine.
Isn't salvage the only sideboard card that you're currently like locked on?
Yes. The only card I currently have... Burnier Thunder Song, but that's because I have Forerunner in the main.
Oh, okay.
But salvage is an absolute lock for me. I have 3 in my side right now. It is absolutely locked. Maybe I could go down to 2, but I could never, gun to my head, pull the trigger. I ain't playing less than 2 salvage. This Vi doesn't make any sense to me. I agree with Blood Rush. I actually have Blood Rushes in the main right now because I think one of this deck's biggest struggles is that actually, at least in my variant, this deck does it a little better, but in my variant, because I don't have Darius in it, it actually struggles to run over big battlefields or trade one-on-one units really well. So I think Blood Rush is a must-have somewhere in the 48. Ultimately, I don't think there's a whole lot of innovation with the Rexai decks. You can either play the Under Titan version or you can play the Under Titan list version. Either way, you're playing Phoenix. Again, I think people are sleeping on Sundisk. I think this is a 2 of. Like, there's an argument even for 3. I think 2 is the correct number, but like, I think 1 is just not enough. I think this deck, this card, when you play against like a true control deck, like a Kai'Sa or Victor control, you're going to see how broken this Sundisk truly is. But even against Draven, even against like all these other decks that we see in the format, Aurelia especially, Sundisk just unlocks so much of this deck. Being able to summon the Phoenixes back readied is just such a huge buff. Yeah.
It feels almost like an arena bar situation to me, where it's a card that, yeah, it sucks when you draw multiples, but seeing it, a copy of it's so important to the deck that you just kind of have to play it. So, and multiples. But this deck also draws a billion cards and doesn't need it on turn 1, so I like the 2 of. I think 2 is the right number for that card from what I've seen.
We have a few questions. Did this man casually chug Blanton's? Yes, that is, in fact, Blanton's. I'm glad you recognized that. Let's see. Is there going to be another free deck guide for Spirit Forge, or is Victor a 1 of? Victor might have been a 1 of because I based that off of... Actually, how I helped rate that guide was I used the script from my Victor deck profile on YouTube, like, because when you put it into Adobe, it shows you the whole script, and I actually took that, added that in, and cleaned up the whole script to make it into a guide. I don't know if that'll happen again. Maybe, but I think right now the plans are mostly paid guides.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I'm leaving it open-ended right now. We might do one more into Set 2's release based on if the meta changes or develops thanks to intervention from Riot. We don't know if that will happen or not, but until then, like, we want our free guides to be budget-friendly options, and all of the best lists right now aren't really that. So until there's like a budget deck that I feel comfortable telling people, like, hey, if you want to play this, here you go. And then, you know, as you expand into the game a little bit more, commit a little bit more resource to it, this is where we have the the paid guides and such.
So yeah, that's pretty much what 2-drops are you running? So right now I have the Pouty Poro, the Honest Broker, and it's Pouty Poro, Honest Broker, and you can find out when you buy my guide, which should come out in a week. So next up, I'm gonna try to get through these. We have Lucian. Collin, this is kind of your area of expertise.
Yeah, I'm the Lucian guy. I'm the everything guy, but you know, I did like the Lucian deck for a little bit.
It's gonna give Alex a heart attack because there's some one-ofs.
Let's see.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, 2-2 combo is incorrect, obviously, for obvious reasons. Yep. Bunch of 1-ofs, 6-2s. There have been some Lucian lists I've seen that have just like cut the 2s entirely because they are pretty bad. This deck has no draw, and it's just like the thing you want to be doing on turn 1 is playing Lucian anyways. I don't think it's worth giving up going first because you could still play like a Doran's Blade or a Hex Drinker or something like that. But I do think it's a little interesting. You do also often want more units as well, so you know you still need to play your Kaises or Auctions or what have you. But yeah. Well, outside of that, I don't really like Bone Shiver. I'm surprised that that's the card that they were like, this is the 3 of, but my combo of Spear plus Trinity Force that don't do anything.
2 of it, no big deal.
Yeah, 2/2 is crazy. I'm assuming the card that's off screen is the Siggy spell, so yeah.
The 3 of.
Obelisk of Power is an interesting try, but kind of unnecessary in this current meta. I get the point is into a random deck. It lets you go first and play your Lucian on turn 1, which is what you want to do. But Draven is already going to be giving you Obelisk of Power when in that situation, which is going to be 30% of the field. So, you know, you don't really need to be doing that in my mind. And then, you know, you're probably not in a great spot if you end up having to double Obelisk. I feel like Draven will use the extra resources a little bit better than we will. So yeah.
Yeah, from my perspective, this Obelisk, like, if you're doubling up Obelisk versus Draven, you're gonna play your turn 1 Lucian, they're gonna play turn 1 Draven. You're gonna like swing in and bounce back and play some random shitters, right? And they're gonna be able to go, okay, put my Draven in a point, accelerate a Kai'Sa into the point, still hold up too. That seems like a nightmare scenario.
Yeah, for sure. So I think Obelisk is a little too cute, and you should just utilize the fact that all these Dravens are gonna give it to you going first anyways. So yeah. Tunebreaker is not a card. Play 3/3 combo. Past that, whatever you choose for your middling creatures is probably fine. I haven't tested enough with the 2s versus no 2s at all. I do like the idea of a deck that what kind of actively wants to go second. I think that's the only real balancing fact they can have for first v second is if they were to start playing or making more odd cost cards. I think that's where my issue with the game for the first second disparity ends up being is there should be more powerful 3 drops and 5 drops, but right now like all the best cards just cost 2, 4, 6, so that's part of what's driving the going first meta. But I think playing like a Darius over that and just if we can cap out on Darius's and our plan is like going second, we go turn 1 Lucian, turn 2 Darius. Now we're scoring both battlefields without leaving anything in there. We have a 7 Might Darius for our challenges. If we ever get combo, then obviously we're just like insanely in there. Yeah, that's my take on Lucian. So start there if you want to try this deck.
Next up, what do we got? Oh my fucking god. It's a Leona.
Leona made it. Whoa.
I don't.
What is this?
We talked about Leona and like some of the stun tricks being pretty good into Draven actually because of the way that Draven wants to do combat. That being said, go ahead.
1 sec, Alex. I saw a couple questions on Twitch chat. So, what 2-drops are you running? I think the same 2-drops when I was running the 2s, but again, I'm still questioning if they're right. Is no combo trolling? Yes. Do not play Lucian without.
Yeah, I can't
2-drops.
Imagine why anybody would want to be on Lucian without combo.
And
Combos
you like
makes
Darius?
the deck nice.
You like Darius and combo Lucian lists? Yeah, the whole point of Lucian in my mind is that you want to, like, if you're playing in a Draven meta and you're playing Lucian, the only way you're winning that is if you're pushing in and then retreating out. And there are 2 cards that can do that, being the Lucian and Darius. And your color combination can play both. So there's no reason to not play both. You know, outside that, I'm still playing my Kaisa's because that card's great. Yeah, but your game plan should be all based around dancing in and out of battlefields. If the Lucian deck is your thing, and then you're the assault deck, right? So you're always better on offense. So you can just break their board, whatever they send in to score, and then retreat back out. Use your removal spells on their creatures that matter, and that's how you have to play the deck.
Is Annie done now? I don't think Annie's done. I just think it's outclassed by Draven, but one of my biggest fears with like a Draven ban is that if you ban Draven, everybody would just be like, all right, we'll just play Annie now. Like, the drawing engine's like not as good, but like the Miracle deck barely utilizes the Draven draw engine. In fact, there's some argument to say that it might utilize the 2 mana better because now it can actually play its, if it needs to, it can actually play, it can tap out, do its whole combo on its turn and still leave up a Rebuke or a Fight or Flight, because it doesn't actually, like, it actually has a very limited number of spells to play on its opponent's turn, but it almost always is trying to tap out on its own turn. So just like, you probably only have 1 or 2 spells at most in hand, so being able to always have access to one of those is actually pretty solid in my book.
Yeah, I also think there's a lot of potential with the Annie version of the Miracles deck. I think the main problem compared to the Draven deck is that Draven gets to lock always having the best turn 2 play in the game, and Annie does not, so it has to run like some amount of Draven and Kaisa in the main deck, which makes your deck like less consistent when you're trying to go through these like combo turns. So if in this hypothetical world Draven ceased to exist, I think the next best Miracle deck would immediately become Annie. But unless that is such a case, I still think the Draven deck just gets to do what Annie is doing, but better.
Yeah. I will say there's no world in which they ever ban a leader in my mind this early into the game, and even if they do, I don't know if it would really solve the root of the issue. So we'll just have to see what they decide to do.
Yeah, I mean, we'll know. They said they're doing a state of the game on February 4th. So if there's nothing mentioned about Draven's power level in that, we can assume that they're going to keep it the same for Bologna and Vegas.
Yeah.
How could they not mention? Not banning Draven is one thing. Not mentioning Draven would be fucking criminal. Like, if they just were like, yeah, we love the meta, there's a lot of diverse decks in Top Cut, and none of them seem to be overperforming more than any other one. We don't, like, this is like NFL refs, like, just walking around blind with their canes. Like,
there is no war in Boston's Bay.
Yeah, there's zero chance that they're gonna not address Draven's power level. Whether they do something about it remains to be seen. But if they're just like, I would be pretty upset if they're like, well, we saw China, but let's wait to see what the East or the West has to do, and then the same thing happens again, and they're like, we're sorry. Like,
we're sorry. Would you like to play a no Draven format in May or whenever the second round of events are?
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels to me like it would be pretty criminal of them to not at least mention Draven by name. So yeah, but
Draven should get a name drop. I think it's fair.
I don't even think it's. I think Draven is the worst offender, but I do agree that it's not a Draven issue. It's a purple issue. Draven is just like the purple to 11.
Sure. Yeah. The purple draw your deck engine is a fundamental problem. The only thing that is not making it like the best deck in the game is the fact that Draven midrange just like it also draws a billion cards, but it has better cards to play.
I mean, I've said it before, but Aurelia becomes a real issue of a deck if they do just ban Draven, because that's the only thing keeping her in check right now. I think Aurelia beats like everything else for the most part, outside of like maybe the Victor decks, just because they're on like triple Coal, triple Imperial Decree, all that nonsense, and are aggressive enough to get to 6 first. So yeah, I think it's definitely needs to be address the state of the game sort of situation, so that we don't just have like if they just ban the Draven leader and all the Draven cards or something and don't touch Aurelia, then we're just gonna have the same problem again with Aurelia. So, but we'll have to see what they decide to do.
So
Leona.
Moving on to Leona, I think where Leona's real struggles was just this deck could not beat Kaiser, as I understood it. I never played Leona in set 1, but every Leona player I talked to was just like, this deck can't beat Kaiser, this deck can't beat Kaiser. I don't see where that's changed, but now Kaiser doesn't exist nearly in the form that she did in set 1. I'm not fully convinced this consistently beats Draven, but I can't say us or I have any of us tested Leona. I think this might be one of the few decks that
Nope.
really.
I had a brew like this that I just never ended up putting games into. It was like, I'm not going to say I had this exact list, but I had like most of the cards that were in this. I do think there's a lot of potential in these like Sona hold archetypes. I don't know if yellow is the best secondary color for it. Like we're only how many yellow cards are we actually running? It's just the Fiora, the Leonas, Zenith Blade, Call to Glory.
The Sword, Call to Glory,
Divine Judgment.
Yeah, I guess
this is my dude.
Okay, sure. So like comparing
Salvage,
this to the Ari
Hidden
version,
Blade.
right? There's
Cyborg cards.
Cyber cards as well. One Divine Judgment. That's wild.
It's for something, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think the Ari version is probably just better than this. But this was a deck that I was thinking about. Like, if we're jamming units into the point, we have not so fast to beat Rebuke. Like, Sona is going to make it so that we can develop and still hold up mana. Like, maybe there's a shot. I don't think this deck is consistently beating Draven because it just does. Like, Draven is always going to draw cards whenever it wins fights. This deck does not. This deck just like, if you play a stun card, you get a buff, compared to Draven, like every time it does what it wants, it's drawing cards, getting closer to like the Rebukes, the Fight or Flights that are going to make your life really hard. So maybe there's something to this. Like, certainly a lot of the interaction spells in this deck are very good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot of input to add. I haven't tested it. I don't have a lot of opinions. Like, I do agree that I think the theory was that the interaction is good into Draven, but I don't want to offer too much of an opinion without having truly tested it. So I think that's kind of where my thoughts begin and end on this. Looks fine. Something I am confused about is why with this deck, this was the only deck that they had in here. This is kind of unrelated, but they used the over number for it, where the rest of these are not the over. Are these the over number? Am I crazy? This is the over number.
Or the signature?
Or the signature? Sorry, signature. Yeah, signature. Sorry, that's what I meant saying, not over number.
I mean, maybe it's based on whatever they submitted through their deck profile. Who knows?
Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird.
They used the Kai'Sa alternate art. They used the Victor alternate art.
Yeah, maybe that's a Rift X thing. I don't really know the answer to that, to be honest with you.
Someone requested this. I'm going to try to speed through the rest of these because we're getting to the end of our period here. But someone asked about this, so I'm just going to skip right to it. Thank God there's no Rockfall Path in this deck. We've got the Azir. I've played some amount of Azir. I've played against it. I like Azir. I think this is a decent deck. My biggest issue with Azir just lies in Thermo Beam just completely demolishing this deck. But this deck also, I don't know how much room for innovation there is with it. I feel like 20 cards of this deck are kind of locked up. Like, you have to play all the weapons. You have to play your signature spell. so that's like 20 cards gone, and then like the staples, like Coal of the Week, like Hidden Blade. So like there's very little room here. Again, we see another Under Titan, like we did in the Victor, as just like a one of that you can play to buff your board, which don't hate it. I think that's totally acceptable. It makes a body unlike Grand Stratagem. And sometimes you don't need the full 5 might from Grand Stratagem. Grand Stratagem can be really overkill. This also costs the same, but doesn't cost you 3 yellow, so I kind of like the innovation of Under Titan. Like I said, I think I'm putting one of it now, or I have put one of it in my Rexai deck. So I like Azir, the 1 Salvage, 3 Arise. Some of these 1-ofs are a little weird. I think Salvage is kind of just like one that's okay as a 1-of. It does draw a card. It just gives you like it does give you like an out to some of these potential equips you might run into. That being said, this deck doesn't draw a lot, so 1-ofs are kind of worse. I do not understand this 1-of Facebreaker, but like, hats off to this guy. His deck is mostly 3-ofs. The Under Titan makes sense as a 1-of because it's the finisher. It's just like your 1-of, like if you see it sits in your hand until you need it, or if you find it at the end of the game, great. I think this list is fine. I don't think there's much, like, I might clean up a little bit, like clean up some of the 1-ups, consolidate some of the numbers. I'm not 100% sold on Lonely Portal, but maybe that's all right. But like, I think this looks fine to me. The sides look, I think not running 3 coal is a little bit of a interesting decision, but I think the rest of this looks fine to me. I don't know how much you guys have to say about it, but I think this is pretty, not standard, but close enough.
Yeah, I mean, Azir's got not too many options, all things considered. The one at Facebreaker over a Thwonk, I guess, is a little weird from what I've seen. One Salvage is kind of weird, but outside it's pretty stock. I think Death Grip is really strong, and where it shines the most is with this card in particular, so... Or with this deck in particular, so, yeah.
So yeah, I guess we'll move on.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add. I've only been observing this deck, and it seems fine. It seems like pretty stock.
Next up, we've got someone asked about the Annie. Oh, this is like the Scooby-Doo mystery of the week. It's like the Ghost Man. It's a guy wearing a Draven mask, and it's Annie underneath the mask. It's the spooky guy of the week. Like, this is just...
Yep.
Yeah.
It's...
Oh, look, it's Draven.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, this is, like... Oh my god, it's a Draven deck. I'm, like, almost kind of disappointed that, like, they didn't keep the sneaky deckhands in. They did play Traveling Merchant.
They're in the sideboard.
Yeah, like, the battlefield selection is wild. This is, like, a literal Kaisa battlefield selection. Grove of the God Willow starts... This is kind of a crazy one to me.
I will say, one thing that is sort of weird about this, we're running Merchant with no scrap. That's kind of unusual.
It's definitely, I mean, I don't get this. Like, if you're going to play Annie, why not just play Annie? Like, you're just playing Draven with different battlefields, it feels like. I don't know. This seems like a weird choice to me. It can definitely still make top cut. I mean, this is just like a cosplay Draven. But I don't know. This seems weird to me. The deckhand's in the side, not the main. Maybe that's the play right now, but I have nothing to add to this. This is literally 3 flashes, I guess. That's like an Annie thing, but this just looks like a Draven deck to me with a few extra steps to it.
Yeah, I mean, they get to run like all the 2-mana interaction. That's the only thing I'm really seeing.
Yeah, I guess it's like a fake, like this is like the look what they need to mimic a fraction of our power, like Grove of the God Willow, like, oh, I hold the battlefield because I fight or flight your guy out and then you don't capture. It's like, dude, just play Draven. Like, we're working so hard to just play Draven. Like, so I think
if you look at the second Annie list real quick, it's actually just maining 3 Draven, 3 Kaisa. Like,
this one at least has like
identified the best thing to do on turn 2.
Okay, this one at least played like Scrap Heap and Zon Warrens and like, oh, this is literally just a Draven deck. This person is just like went a step further and just said like, like, this is like
just port over a Draven deck and put it in Annie. Yeah.
Yeah, this is like a mixture of like part of the Miracles package, half of the Draven. This is like the ungodly like stepson, or like the ungodly like love child of, what if we took Miracle Draven and regular Draven and shoved it together and they had Annie? Like, this is just kind of an abomination in my eyes, but
But hey, man, you get to run 2 scrap heaps, not 3, just 2.
So now we get to the best performing Sivir, and what the fuck, man? It's just an Aurora deck.
Depending on the set deck you did, 63. I'm sure we can look at that.
Yeah, I'm going to skip right over this because this is just someone just made an MF deck and said, now it's fucking
We can't
Sivir.
run bullet time, find 2 more cards to play.
I mean, we're actually just started experimenting with this lineup of just 5 units, and I think there should be 3 shovel here. But I kind of like this lineup. I think the idea is good, and holy fuck, first guy to think maybe I should play 3 Gust.
Yeah.
You did it! Woohoo!
Got down to 63rd before he saw somebody running 3 Gust.
Yeah, so I mean,
Nice.
this is the new style. This is just the MF Aurora deck we saw last week. I guess what Sivir has to offer here is just you don't lose as much power. I still think MF does this better. I also think the MF Chosen Champ is a little bit better than this. Maybe this one gets to 6 with Accelerate, but they're pretty comparable Chosen Champs. They're like pretty much the same thing, but I don't know. I think this was just like this person wanted a metal card and didn't want the MF metal card. Yeah. So I'm
confident they went for the metal card.
All right, go off, King. Tell them why they're wrong or right or whatever.
What?
Collin.
Oh, did you swap to the set guide?
Yep.
Yeah, give me a second. I need the stream to catch up.
Sorry, it wasn't 63rd. It was let me check here.
63rd. Well, I have it
got
up.
Down to 56th before we saw 3. There we go.
No, from what I remember, this list is solid. Like, this is how I wanted to play set. I think realistically, Rebuke is just going to cook you, and if you're trying to do a million things to beat that, it's not going to work. So I would play triple Sabo. I don't think Marching Orders is that good of a card, but I mean, maybe you can like Marching Orders with your Fey Dragon that's in the base and kill a bunch of stuff. So I'll have to give that one a shot, but you do have to play triple Sabo. Arena Bar is still fine if you really want it. I don't really like Wallop as a card. Set Brawler is
running 2 of every card.
Yeah, that one. Don't try to avoid 2 ofs in a deck like this. It's okay out of purple because the deck draws twice as many cards as you do. In a deck like this, though, it just makes your deck inconsistent. You need more than 2 of at least some of these cards. Like I said, Sabo, that's a 3 of. Punch First, that's a 3 of. First Mate, that's probably a 3 of. And yeah, I think this is like a solid starting list, though. This is probably close-ish to what I'll be playing. Although I don't know if I like Biomaws or our battlefield choices. Grove might be a little bit difficult to pull off these days. But I don't know, maybe Sunken Temple isn't too bad. We'll have to see. Definitely start here, though, if you're looking to play set. Just for the love of God, play 3 Sabo, play 3 Punch First. You don't need... play a 3rd First Mate over a Wallop. And, yeah, Arena Bar versus Warmogs is kind of the toss-up. You can fill that slot with either or. Just whichever feels better to you. Set versus Fiora is orange-yellow archetypes. I mean, I think they're both of comparable level right now. I think they're both in about, like, low C tier. Couldn't know a lot. Not great in a Draven.
Yep, and then the side, just kind of more of the same. We've got some salvages. We've got more of the 3rd Sabo. We've got the 3rd Marching Order. We do have Akshan, which I kind of surprised wasn't even one in the main. We have Cannon Barrage. Ooh, that's interesting. But yeah, I mean,
one of the only reaction speed damage spells.
I'm guessing that's for the Rosellas fans, or at least that's what I've been seeing that card do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that third Sabo is coming in against everything. It should just be in the main. They really like this marching orders card, so I mean, I'll give it an honest go. The fact that it doesn't hit battlefields really does suck, though. And yeah, the fact that we have to play triple challenge, triple marching orders, because all we want to do is combat, but the stupid game doesn't let us unless we play cards like this, is very, very tragic. I do like marching orders as like a counter to fight or flight, almost, is like if they come in, or you go in and they push you out, then you can just like play the marching orders to kill whatever guy you were going to run over anyways. Maybe kill a second thing too while you're at it. It's cool. Yeah, I'm never one to, I'll tell y'all how it is. Like, I liked my set deck in set 1 because it was a unique deck that only I really piloted to success at the highest level, and it's also one that like did very well for people who picked up the guide. People are winning skirmishes all over. Even when I go to my local events, people are playing my set list and look up and say, "Oh, hey, I saw your set list. I thought it was really cool. I've been playing it, etc., etc." So, yeah, he'll always have a place in my heart, but you know, until something gets addressed, he's out of the field. Sorry, Alex. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. So this is the last deck I'll do. I was going to wrap it up right there because that was all the top 64, but someone did ask about Jax, so we'll go over this very quickly. I will give my unfiltered opinion on Jax, which I just think this deck is like... So these decks all do something similar. I've talked about this. Fiora, Jax, Azir. They're all just way to make your wet to bypass Ornn, Jax, Azir, Fiora. They all do something similar, like in their legend ability, which is they're just trying to bypass the power cost on your weapon equips, and they all do it in a similar way, albeit they're all very different decks given their color combinations, but they're all just weapon decks at their core. Azir's like the only one that kind of like, it is a weapon deck, but it's more of a swarm weapon deck. Given that this is an Yi's color combination, I don't really truly see a reason to be playing this. I think Yi just does what this deck wants to do better, which is like try to get the Triforce, the Trinity Force on the Rune Runner, and like just try to hold, and like this just looks like a mid-range Yi deck to me, but just worse. Like if you're playing Jax, I think this is strictly just Metal Leader. Like you get all the weapons on for not power, but I don't think Yi cares about paying the power a lot. They'd rather just have the 2 buff. Because most of these guys are going to sit solo in the battlefield anyways, and you don't actually have very many units in this deck. If you take a look, you have 6 plus 7, 13, 14 units. Like, you would just do this better by giving your units more resiliency. The 6 spell is crazy, don't get me wrong. That's like the one upside to Jax I see here, but like, the leader is just like, bleh. It's not blank. It's just not very good, to be honest. Like, I just think Yi can do what this deck does so much better. I'm not particularly impressed outside of the Counter-Strike, and I don't think the Counter-Strike's enough to carry this deck. Again, very good card, but I would rather just have Yi's ability turned on all the time than have some number of Counter-Strikes some of the time. Just, I'm not a fan. I don't like it. I don't think it's good. It's certainly not good in the current meta. This is just a metal like, if you want to play this deck, at least Yi is probably like C, maybe B tier. Like, if you're lucky, probably closer to C tier, whereas this is just strictly Metal Leader. Collin, you can tell me, what do you think?
No, man, it's cooked for this deck.
Yeah,
Collin was on the other side of my Jax testing, and what do you think, Collin? You think this deck has any shot?
No, it's a so Metal Leader it if you want. That's.
Jax Aurora doesn't like really make sense because in that deck you don't want to play a lot of weapons, so his leader ability doesn't do anything. Like, I could see a world where Trinity Force is good in Aurora because it speeds up the clock. But what do you need Jax ability for? You already have 10 power at that, or 9 power at that point.
If you're trying to run an Aurora deck in these colors, you should be playing Master Yi.
Unless you just want the metal card, like sure, Aurora.
Yeah, exactly. That's like
yes, and even then, I don't think
that is
orange,
something to consider.
I don't think that the orange green or like the Yi color Aurora is even close to what you need. Mind Splitter now. You have to get in their hand, or you're just folding to Rebuke. Like you're just absolutely just dying to rebuke every time. So I don't think I just like even not so fast is not good enough in my opinion. Like I think you have to take them preemptively. Just not a fan. I don't think this deck is good. I don't know what could happen to make this deck good either, just because I think the Legends ability, like I said, there's like 3 other Legends that do something very similar, and I think he does it the worst of all of them. So I just don't.
I mean, it just has to be like a color combination thing where you want to play this color combination for some reason, and
like if orange was a better color right now, you could see this deck maybe doing something like.
Right.
If there were just like one more broken equipment, like maybe you've got a shot. But
yeah, I mean, realistically, you're just giving up an actual leader ability out of Yi and probably a better chosen champ, just because having access to a haster at all times is quite nice, especially with all these equipment.
A ganking haster, like it'll just fucking anytime you want to send it to the other point, like. I mean, that's the thing that comes up with Aurora Yi in set 1. Like, if you just don't see a second creature, Yi will score you like 5 points for free. Like,
yeah, and that's the big thing that this camel card is missing right now. All these camel decks, they don't gank it, so it doesn't hold both battlefields. So if you're gonna go all in on one unit, it has to hold both battlefields. And
honestly, I was more
too small to do
the MF version of this, where they were trying to ride the MF with all the fucking equipments on it. Like at least I understood the like plan with that, but no, Ruin Runner is a fine card. It's honestly a bad card, but Ruin Runner is like fine versus the card Rebuke exactly. The problem is Draven isn't just only your Rebuke deck. If you shut off their access to Rebuke, then they'll find another way to get into the point. Like the idea that you're just gonna sit a camel in one side and just score 2, 4, 6, 8, that's just not realistic.
Yeah, so I don't see it for this deck. I'm not a fan of Jax. Love his Sig spell. I think it's one of the what I would call probably the B tier Sig spells, like pushing A tier, but outside of that, it's a bust for me. Okay, someone asked what the Garen Metal card guy played. I will show it to you. I'm not going to talk about it. I will just show it to you. We have to go to top decks. This is.
Wait.
Someone asked what the Garen Metal card got. What did the Garen Metal card guy play?
It was not
Aurora.
Aurora.
Did you miss this part? Wait, did you miss this? If I remember correctly, there is no Garen at this event.
Yeah. Oh, that's
I believe there are a grand total of 0 Garens at this event.
Yes, there were in fact 0 Garens.
Yes, that's insane.
I will say. I don't want to just be doom and gloom about Draven, because of course Draven, like, we are competitive players and we really want to win every event we go to. I think people should really consider, if they're heading to an event like Bologna or an event like Houston, or sorry, not Houston, excuse me, Vegas. You should be heavily considering, if you don't think that you're gonna beat every single Draven player in the mirror, you should be heavily considering playing a leader just for the odds at getting the medal, because the second place Draven is making less money than anybody who gets a medal card in the entire event. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I will say, like, if I walk in and I see that they tell me, congratulations, you're the only Draven in tournament, I immediately drop and go play side events and just do anything else with my day. I'm literally just like, nice, I already
Garen or something like that.
Yep, I literally.
What you mean?
Or Draven.
Yeah, you said Draven. The only Draven in the event. That's impossible.
Yeah, Garen. Yeah. If I walk in, I'm the only Garen. That's it. Like, I walk right at. Yeah. Just.
I mean, I'll say bring a Draven deck for your side events, because.
Yep.
Yeah, no reason not to, but yeah.
Yeah, Envy said the consideration only goes up more and more as we get more leaders. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I assume at some point they will retire leaders, but assuming they just give out a metal leader for every single leader, yeah, the more leaders that are on the game, the better your odds get at acquiring a metal one. Like, playing the best deck at these official events is often not going to be the play. Like, you should be playing a deck that is good enough, but has like low play rate, so you can try to get the metal card.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's gonna do it for today, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We will be back Wednesday. As always, please check out our Metafy. We got coaching. We got the Discord. I'll save you the sales pitch, but we got deck lists. We got everything for you in there. Definitely check out our YouTube videos. We'll have another one coming this week, and then we'll be back Wednesday, 8 p.m. EST. We'll be doing some gameplay, I think. We'll even be doing some stuff where we might be playing. I think we're doing like a super chat where if you donate so much, we'll play your deck on stream. We'll roast your deck. We'll roast you. I'll juggle the bananas on the unicycle, whatever you want. So check us out, guys, and thanks again. Have a great night.
Yep. Take care.